On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, we're going to talk to you about some interlude campaigns and a very upcoming anniversary that's definitely super upcoming and didn't happen in the past. And also, we're going to talk about Lostbelt 2 and cry some more. That's what we do. Hi, I'm Omega, that's Lucky, and we will continue to snooze until the apocalypse.
They say no rest. No, I am all rest. Hello, everyone. I hope you're enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka Anniversary Anticipation. And while we here at Studio Omega like to bring you the latest in FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future memes for both the JP and EM version of the game. So anyone not wanting spoilers should get ready for giant pancakes.
Such nodding.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Tirana King, I don't know where you live. People have been firing off fireworks for like a week where I live.
Yeah, people are, I don't know. It's probably because of the quarantine star crazy that's, like, being doubled down, but we're not here to talk about that. But just, yeah, people just in general like to fire fireworks randomly, so long as it's anywhere remotely resembling a time when you do that, people will do it. They love it.
Yeah. Good old San Antonio, Texas.
But okay, before we get too far in, since we did all our intros and the stuffs, I'd like to remind everybody that this episode is brought to you by our patrons like Ahio Comics, Blacklist OG, Carlos, Qua, Jeremy Vasquez, Kylie Denton, Nestor Flores, Rogue Robin, Shawnee P, some guy named Bob, Sodasun 0424, Cedrin23, Video Gamer 75, and Zach Reed. If you like what we do, want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to episodes early and lots of other goodies. It really helps us out. Thank you for your support, everybody.
Thank you.
I'm glad I can still do that so fast, even though I'm
Lucky trimmed his fingernails, so now it's harder for him to open cans. He gets.
I've always let my fingernails grow a little too long and then trim them back, and it's like, ooh, that's short. That's weird now. My dexterity. Anyway, we're not here to talk about our fingernails, unless maybe that's somewhere in Mailbag. I don't know. There's like 40 of those. Who knows? Who knows what's in there? We'll figure it out. But, yeah, let's see. How long? Yeah, okay. I think he's just checking the timer to make sure he can say fuck.
By the fact that he said it, probably we're good.
Yeah. So, it'll be really quick, but let's check in with everybody's favorite Kohai when I push this button.
Senpai! Senpai! 起きてください.
That's right, everybody. It's time for Wake the Fuck Up Senpai regular second for pro tips. It's not really a big one. But, yeah. The July materials are Serpent Jewels, Dust, and Hero Proofs. There you go. A lot of people are happy about those last two, but, hey, just because I like to make people go crazy in the comments, I have 400 Void Dust and 500 Hero Proofs.
I definitely don't have that many Void Dust. I think I'm down like to 150 something, but I'm pretty sure I'm still up like at 400 Hero Proofs.
Well, that's what happens when you play the game at launch for like a year, or whatever, how long it took them to not make Hero Proofs the login material.
Yeah.
And I'd probably use up some of those if I got off the top and off some skills, but I don't have any high demand for anybody at the moment. Also, it's not really an achievement because I'm not done with it, but I have been slowly, in this time with nothing better to do, been feeding Arash Grails, so that's where a lot of my QP's been going.
Well, in these slow times, Lucky's actually been slowly working on building his QP.
Yeah, I've mostly been doing EXPs and occasionally punching free quests, though that's a little hard to autopilot. Because, gosh, Epic of Remnant, why? Why did we make a Super Chimera? Why did we do that? I don't think that was necessary. Anyway, while we're still sleeping, let's go ahead and actually talk about achievements. Our Records on the Throne, our regular achievement topic. I have actually managed to, because those EXP catch-up, protect Ryoma and Izo's smiles. It just took a little bit due to EXP.
For Lucky's side, merely protected Fran's smile. Finally, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, just been casually working on some stuff. It's not really all the world's evil, it's not really achievement, but I did spend my 5 monthly tickets on the banner when Valkyria is up. I got nothing. But it was monthly tickets, so whatever.
I haven't spent my tickets yet. I don't know if I want to. I might save them for Scotty. I don't know yet.
Who knows?
Lucky throws his hands in the air. He just does not care.
All right. Well, maybe you'll care about this one. Did you finish your master missions? Probably.
Oh.
They're pretty easy. To finish your master missions this week, I'm going to need you to do 30 FP summons, defeat 15 beast enemies, defeat 30 enemies, not including servants or certain bosses, and then defeat 15 each rider, assassins, or berserker enemies, not including servants or bosses, aka do Lostbelt 2 stuff. And also FP summons. That's not actually Lostbelt related because there's no 3 stars in this story release, but yeah, all that other stuff, just do Lostbelt. Either free quests or the story. It'll all get you done.
Ooh.
So with that yawn, let's talk about the news. Gotta do my news presenter voice. So on the 29th, it was 1100 days, wasn't it?
I believe
I
so.
think I wrote this down right. I'm just looking at it being like, man, that's a lot of fucking days, but I suppose it's about right.
We're on our 3rd year, man.
Yeah. Math. You got 10 sync courts if you signed in that day. They have announced all the Statesman rerun will occur basically tonight, so it should already have started by the time this goes live to public on the YouTubes. And will be going until the 17th, so if you don't have Bunyan, get Bunyan. She's cool.
I hope you're ready for all your forms of Altera.
Yeah. Hopefully they do some other stuff while this is happening, too. I remember the rerun roughly coincides with Anniversary, but we should also hopefully get some, like, half AP dailies or something in there. Just because, if I remember rightly, all the Statesmen is just a single story quest per day, so it's not very time-consuming.
Well, with that, as we do have the Chaldea Broadcasting Volume 9 happening July 6th. It's going to be a special stream with Kenji Akabane, who is Karak VA, which will most assuredly be anniversary stuff. So we're not looking at too long delay in actually getting our anniversary. There was a social media campaign, retweet like X amount of times, get 3 sync courts. Guess what? We got it.
Yeah, and it must have happened quite a way in advance because they actually shouted out that we hit the goal, which they don't usually do until the stream.
Mm-hmm. I said there's 2 other people who was going to show up on the stream. It was Nissan,
Albert and Nissan, are on the list.
I could have sworn there was one more other person, but
I think it was just 3. I looked at the thing earlier, but that was several hours ago, and I don't really remember it too well. Today I have logged into some stuff, and I have watched some YouTube videos and written some notes. Okay, technically that's a lie. I've also prepped assets for Wanted Scotty, which I'm sure the audience, you want to know about. And blah, 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 I'll be wildly successful. Omega's not jaded or anything, even though he thinks that his Wanted Napoleon and Sigurd are way cooler, but whatever.
So, that's it for what's going on over here. Over in JP, though, we have Interlude Campaign 13 running from 6/29 to 7/8, with half AP Interludes and half AP on Part 1 through Lostbelt 3, and half AP through Lostbelt 4. We have St. Court's Interludes for Sigurd, Mothman. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his name.
That's okay. That's why he's just written as QSH.
Mm-hmm. Lakshmi Bai and William Tell. We have Scare Interludes for Sherlock and Simei, Lady Ranas. Sherlock's Natural Insight now reduces all enemies' arch resistance 10 to 20% for 30 turns. And Rain's Volume skill now does a 10 to 20% MP charge. So log in for 7 days and get 4 gold apples and 3 St. Quartz. There is a summer banner with Rains and Sherlock with Lakshmi and William up all the time. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little disappointed that they didn't throw a Sigurd raid up in this.
Yeah, but we're already on 2. And who knows, maybe Anniversary is not too far away in JP, so they might already have scheduled, like Lostbelt story banners.
Maybe they'll be absolute mad lads and they'll have a limited GSS, a limited SSR ticket.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see. But yeah, this not that that's bad though. This is a good place for this raid up because it'll been a little while since both Sherlock and Rennes were up because goodness knows when they're going to rerun the Case Files collab.
Hey, someone posted that reverse mate again.
Yeah, I don't know why. We've already seen that. Don't do that. Yellow flag. Also, I should clarify. Lucky accidentally said 30 turns. It's just 3 turns.
My bad.
Hopefully nobody took that seriously, but
Lucky's sleepy and depressed.
that's okay. I got you. Just, yeah. Also, it's good for Lakshmi and William Tell, because those are, I believe, on the Part 1 Lostbelt 4 banner, which is just before the Part 2, which includes story locks and a limited unit. So, you know, it's always great when they come back with raid-ups.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much to say about their skill upgrades. I think Sherlock's just now firmly locks him even deeper into art support, in that now he actually lets when he's not NPing, he actually lets your arts team unit do stuff. Like, it makes them hit harder at a pretty general sweep. And then for Rennes, that means that she can actually do the full, because Rennes is kind of like Rider Waver, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that percentage battery now means she can actually give a unit the full 50%, but only one guy. But still, it's very helpful for her in support comps. Because not everybody needs to just be glued to double Scotty, guys.
People are going to be glued to double Scotty.
Oh, they will, but I'll save my meta blah 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 commentary for when I record Wanted, which will be soon, because obviously the anniversary is probably going to be the 6th. Well, technically, I think probably the 7th for us, but still, you know what I mean.
Soon, TM.
Precisely. Okay. Well, if you're sleepy, do you want me to try and read all the mailbags?
No, I'm gonna read the mailbags. Hang on, let me clear space. I need to clear space on my desk here. Oh. Mailbags is my thing. I'm not letting you have it. I'll fight you. I just need a good old shot of the good stuff.
Monster Energy drink?
Yes. Lucky does not actually do hard drugs. Okay. So, hang on one second. Just move my headphones here for a quick so I can slap my face! And get some blood flowing here, and pain! Because it is everyone's, well, I'm not gonna say everyone's favorite section, but gee willikers, people, this mailbag only keeps getting bigger. It does not get smaller.
Yeah, even when last time we tried to put a time limit on it, people are still like, more questions?
More questions? And no, don't start the timer. Reset that timer. Fool.
Reset the timer?
So it is time for Let's Talk FGO Mailbag, the segment where Lucky takes all your lovely mail and reads it and answers it with a mega live on air. As said, due to time constraints, we will only do this for 1 hour. Last week we did get a couple comments saying people didn't like that. They didn't like how it was so lightning round, but looking at how we have 41 entries, Lucky, I'm not sure what he's gonna do.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I can feel like, yes, we did lightning round some of those questions a little fast, but also, honestly, we need that pressure, because otherwise we do not. And y'all should know, we can talk forever. And in fact, a quick fun update, Patreon this month upgraded everybody's audio upload, so now it's no longer approximately 200 megabytes, it's now approximately 512 megabytes. So we can go on for even longer. Let's not, though.
Just because we can doesn't mean we should.
No, it's just better for APs and stuff.
Yeah, so, as in, Lucky has the timer right now, and we're going to get started right meow. So, this one comes from a lonely Catholic schoolboy who's going to wail for his last Kiara MP. I see. Dear Lucky and Omega, thank you so much for being some of the highlights of my weekend with your work. Keep it up, you're doing great, sweetie. Well, thank you. My question is, now that 2 Lostbelts are out, what do you think of the serious like command seal could be? Scotty mentions the trap card that kills cryptors upon use. But as of right now in JP, no one other than Wadaime has been stated to know its true purpose. The speculations, anything. Thanks again. Look forward to hearing you soon. Lonely Catholic Schoolboy, we are going to put a pin in this, because that is something that will probably come up in our Lostbelt 2 discussion, which will also probably be way too fucking long. and we can get more depth in then.
That is actually, it's in my bullet point list.
Mm-hmm. So, thank you for your comment. Please just hold on to your butt. We'll get to you eventually. So, we are going to move on to the next one from that one guy who exists wearing a hat, currently running away from a very angry Ironblood cruiser after headbutting her sister. Admiral Hipper? Hey, Lucky Omega, hope all is going well. No. My question is, how much trouble did you have with mats when you were first starting out? As a new player, I'm finding that I'm constantly needing mats such as hearts and feathers. Love your shows. I should have clicked the raid more. I'm dumb. And keep up the good work. Well, thank you. So, does everyone remember how I told everyone, like, how Tama Cat was my linchpin and a lot of, early cream? Fun fact, it wasn't a fully leveled Tama Cat. It was a level 70 Tama Cat. You want to know why? Because when the game first started out, we did not have the daily class rotations that we have now today. We had a Knights class and a Cavalry class. And Berserker only showed up very rarely, and you could only get the gold Berserker statues from there. And I think it was only like maybe on a Wednesday, I think it was. I can't remember. And what was it? I can't remember. It was literally like 3 years ago.
No, it was bad.
But
it was real
bad. It was bad. But you had to get a Kentucky who wasn't even out in the game yet. And he had to drop the gold thing. So it took literally, I think, from the game started, I got my Tama Cat and I started using her to the first Halloween where we had the first actual event store. And it was like, oh my god! Before I could first level her. And that is probably the time that like hurt me the most because Lucky complains about not having bones and feathers right now, but there are like, he can go out and farm them and whatnot. But back then, we didn't have all the fucking like math.
Yeah, and honestly, bones have always been easy to farm. It's just a pain in the butt because you have to do Fuyuki over and over again. A lot of the advanced stuff, like you mentioned hearts, I'm like, literally my heart hurts thinking about God hearts. Just, there were so many mats in the first 6 months of the game, like you're saying, basically, probably until about Halloween and then Christmas when we got our first real events, and Christmas being a lotto event too. It was bad. It was bad, kids. Like, the dailies weren't set up right away. There were only like 3 maps you could farm on, you know, like Okeanos took a couple of months to come out. And
Okeanos was late September.
Yes, and it wasn't even all the mats either. Like,
no,
it was still only some of them. I think a lot of people were excited because Okeanos added a new place that was good to farm feathers.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, it was really rough. Like, even moon viewing wasn't properly balanced. The way that the ideal way to do that event was to farm the like 5 AP, which is why I coasted for like a year on blue saber gems. It was a dark time, and some of those mats really hurt. Like, honestly, even if you're a newer player and obviously you have to struggle to build up, it's still, you got it pretty okay. And it will get better. Maybe they'll announce that update to give everybody free mats with main quests this anniversary early. Who knows?
That'd be nice.
It would be. But yeah, that was mats. All right.
So, well, actually, do you have any like particular story of where you were hurting yourself?
I can't remember them because, like you said, it was 3 years ago. But there were definitely servants where it was like, oh, I'm out of statues, or oh, I'm out of hearts were always a pain in the ass, stuff like that. You always need a lot of bronze mats, but they're pretty easy to get. It was always silvers and gold that gave me trouble. And statues. Statues were always a real big cock block in the early game.
Mm-hmm. So, thank you. That one guy exists wearing a hat, currently running away from a very angry Ironblood cruiser after head-patting her sister. Thank you. So, this next one, it comes from the Smug, gifted with emotes, who asks, who is the smuggest, servant who isn't actually evil or a dick? Example, not BB. P.S. Also, thanks for the emotes. The smug grows ever more present. So, knee-jerk reaction, Nero.
Nero's very smug, yes.
Yes. I don't know if I could think of anyone more smug than Nero who is not evil or a dick.
No, nothing comes to mind.
As I said, there's a reason why we just have, there are such terms as the Umu strut. Umu pats, just Umu. There's a lot of Umu.
Yo, dog,
What?
can I get some umus in chat?
Ooh.
Well, I'm getting a lot of reactions. That's fine. Whatever. Okay.
It works. So, the smug giveaway emotes. Thank you for your comment, and you're welcome for the emotes. Don't piss me off or I'll take them away. So, this next one comes from the Culture Man, clearly in denial, who asks, Dear Lucky and Omega, do you know where I can find Fate Dojin that are not hentai related? Because whenever I look it up it's always... Whenever I look it up
No, there's 3 twos in there.
There are 3 twos in there. It's always hentai here, hentai there, always goddamn hentai. Like it's everywhere or something. I know, right? Crazy. It's like people like seeing naked women. I know I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth, but sometimes you get tired of hentai. Unbelievable. I know. And so you just want to read something wholesome shit once in a while. You know, if it's translated, that'd be perfect, and I'm fine with buying. Wouldn't mind witchcraft either. So thank you and advice from Culture Man clearly in denial. Now his name makes sense. So, mostly, a lot of the times, like, I have an answer for this, but I will say, most of the time, usually when I see non-hentai stuff, it's usually pretty short stuff, like usually 1 or 2 pages. But, there is one that you might like. So it is done by an hentai artist, but it's, you know, they do that. But look up Fue. Fue, who is known for, their tags, oral and fellatio and fucking tongues. Does a series called Chaldea Slow Life. You can definitely, if you just type that in, you'll find the first volume translated pretty freaking quick. I think there's like up to 4 or 5 volumes of it, and I don't know if they've been translated or not. But it's actually a source of some of my favorite jokes about like Boudica's Dote EX, Medea doing tongue twisters, the fucking Gorgon Tower with Medusa Sathena Urale riding around on Asterios.
Mecha Shiva.
So it's pretty good, and as I said, be careful looking up Fue on his own. He is a mad lad who loves his Carmilla.
And also, Fue, I believe, is most famous for Carmilla and Boudica dojins.
Yes. In the FGO community, yes. He has a big old list of stuff, but yes, it is very wholesome and very good, and just a little bit erotic.
Oh, okay. So, Omega just realized because the website was loading very slowly, I did actually open up the news on Broadcasting Volume 9. There's going to be a host who will be Daichi Edamura from Aniplex, and then the 3 guests are Kenji, Kano Yoshiki, who is in all caps, by the way, in this article, and Albert. So, interesting. So, yeah.
Okay, so
technically there's 3 guests and 1 host, yes.
Okay. So, there's your answer. I hope you enjoy it. Read it.
Omega has a very quick pro tip for the people at home. If you know what said panda is, and if you don't, you can look it up. Go there. They have a whole non-H tag. Just FYI. A lot of people upload like art books and stuff there. If you're looking for things. You can also look for other stuff, but it's there.
So, next one comes from doing a massive pile of coke off a Scotty documentary as a catalyst. Who asks, what's the worst mistake you guys have made in FGO? I have 2. The first is when I made my account and didn't understand how servants rarity work. Long ago, I fed my free tutorial Siegfried to Ku as XP. My thought process went simple. Ku is cooler than Siegfried, so Ku must be made more strong. The second is more recent and more due to the lack of attentiveness. I was feeding Valentine CEs to a CE bomb. Remember, they all are all locked 80s, just like Bond CEs. And I accidentally unlocked and fed Castle Nero spawn CE to the bomb. Oof. That's a boof. Lucky made a comment last episode where he wondered who this update was for, and alas, it was me. To be fair to myself, I didn't complain and bemoan my poor fortune, just accepted my penitence for foolishness. Ooh, that's solid. Let's see. Worst mistake? Well, I guess, my earliest mistake, I can definitely say, back when FGO first got started, I didn't understand rate-up banners, because this was actually, like, my real first gacha game. And so I was like, course, I'll just throw it on this banner here, which was the story banner. And that's how I got, actually, my first couple copies of Saber Altar. But then I realized, oh, wait, no, if I actually want to get good stuff, I need to save it. Yeah, save it.
Mm. I think especially because, as we talked about the Dark Times, shiny new banners were pretty rare. So
Yeah. I think I could say probably my. Let's see. Another mistake I made is I didn't go hard enough on the Valentine's event and did not get my Grail. That one hurts me inside still. And I guess one other mistake is sometimes I accidentally burn servants, like my Salieri and a Gorgon. I don't know which one you would consider the worst. Everyone, has different values, but those are Lucky's big 3 mistakes.
yeah, I besides just the banner stuff, I also accidentally burned servants I want to keep, which is why Omega locks literally every new servant right away, even the bronzes and the silvers. Like, I think I accidentally ate my like high level cursed arm once, and I was just like, didn't I have a fully leveled that guy? Oh, he's gone. He must have been burned or eaten. Well, not doing that again, and that was the day Omega locked literally all of his servants. So yeah. Those, I think, are the pretty common dumb mistakes before you realize the mechanics, right? Like, unless you actually literally researched FGO before starting, which I feel like 3 years ago people didn't do. Like, that wasn't a big thing. People didn't research gacha games before they get into them. Rolling on story without realizing, or accidentally burning things or not locking things is usually a pretty big one. And that's my story.
Mm-hmm. Pull up Discord over here. Okay. Lucky switch things so I can look at the mailbag while facing my microphone instead of a scan set, and I'm hoping that
Pretty
improves,
solid.
improving my my quality, because I've noticed that it's a little weird sometimes, but I'm wasting time. So, doing a massive pile of coke off Sky Nakamura as a catalyst. Dangerous, man. Dangerous. Thank you. We're gonna move on to just some guy who calls his mustache a beard and gets away with it. Let's see. I had to look this up. I think it was like Heelong Sail or something like that. Lucky Omega. I actually don't know what it means. I was like, how do I pronounce this? I felt it fitting to give a Norse greeting. Anyways, I have a question. What is the first anime you watched knowing that it was an anime? Man. I think I'd have to, I've watched a lot of stuff, but there's just some stuff that I watched because, hey, this is animated. I think the first thing that I, genuinely went out of my way to watch because I thought it would be cool was Slayers. Way back when it was playing on the international channel. It was Slayers, Earthian, Black Heaven, Those Who Want Elves, Record of Lodos War. That was all on the international channel, and I binged the fuck out of that. I was all like, what? There's people dying in these cartoons? Nani the fuck? I did not say Nani the fuck back then. I am not that weed. I'm not that weed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so yeah, it was one of those. Mega?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. The first anime I would have gone on my way to watch as an anime, so discounting all the Saturday morning cartoon stuff, because those were all just cartoons, it's probably got to be some of the classy Adult Swim stuff. It was probably FMA or Ghost in the Shell. Because I was like, ooh, because then I would have started to understand what anime was, and then it would be like, ooh, cool, there's anime where they actually swear on in the middle of the night on Adult Swim. Let me pop my VHS tapes in here. So yeah, it was that would have been about the time when Ghost in the Shell, FMA, and Inuyasha were airing on Adult Swim. And occasionally they would show Fooly Cooly, 1 week, but then they would go away for a while.
So, thank you, some guy who calls his mustache a beard and gets away with it. We're gonna move on to Mysterious Nightbot X Alter. They're looking at Mega. If you had to choose which final session art North America is the best, which would you choose? Love the show. Keep up doing the good work. Well, thank you. I have to think on this question, because...
Yeah, I muttered that while you were talking. This one made my brain hurt just reading it. I'm like, wait, shit. Can I get a good... Is there a place where I can look at all the Final Ascension arts at once? Internet?
Yeah, Lucky doesn't know.
We got one of those? Usually Final Ascensions are pretty cool, but I don't know.
I mean, I like a lot of them. I don't know if... Honestly, Lucky's gonna do the compound answer. He honestly can't answer. I love all my servants.
Hold on, I'm trying to flex my brain. Yeah, I don't know. Let's, Omega's gonna probably cop out, and, I will just say Ishtar. Because legs. There. That's it. That's my decision.
That's
For the
a
moment.
solid one. Actually, now I'm thinking about no. Actually, I really do actually like Skahawk's Final Ascension. It's very detailed and colorful.
Yeah, especially the way the sprites work. Final Ascensions are usually when the artists get to stretch their legs.
Yeah. I was like, I won't say Skahawk is absolutely my favorite, but every time I see it, I'm just like, God damn this art. Anyway, there's our cop-out answers. Thank you, Mysterious Nightbot X Alter. We're gonna go next to the guy who keeps changing our titles. Dear heart and mind of the podcast. Expanding on my question from last week, if Mash could transform using Prisma Ilya like class cards, which servant would you pick for each class? Yes, you can use the one from the show, buy like a custom set. Why do people always want to make us do
Yeah,
like,
I don't know. I don't know why people ask us all these hypothetical questions. Write your own goddamn fanfiction. I'm not a data mine. Wait.
With love, Cart, the guy who keeps changing our titles. So I'll give you two, because I had two that come off the fucking top of my head just immediately, and those are all you're getting from me. Saber would be Lancelot. It'd just be top fucking percent. Berserker would be Fran, because it's cute.
That would be adorable, and they have similar hair.
Yes.
I was also going to say Lancelot for Saber, so let me see. Let me think of some stuff. Well, Lancer's gotta be Leonidas. Duh. And, let me see if can I think of a fun archer to round out the roster. Who's a funny archer? Smash liked any archers? Did you friends with any of them? I'm trying to think. Are there any characters you particular?
I'm trying to think.
We hung out with Arash a little bit. Nah, let's just stay easy and let's do Robin Hood, Hoodie Mash.
This might be wild, but I think Ryder would probably be Boudica.
That'd be pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
They also have shields. They're cool. They're shield buddies. Sadly, I don't think there's any art. There are any. Well, there's Emiya, I guess. That could be funny. I know that's also in Prisma, but.
And as for an assassin,
that's our rule now. Do they have shields?
I can't think of an assassin with a shield. Interesting. I'd say it's Sanson.
Fair. He has a sword. That's not a shield, but it's close.
It's close. And caster Merlin. I think that'd be interesting. I think Grams is too much for Mash, though. Personally,
that would be a little hardcore. That would be cool, but that might be a little too hardcore for Mash.
Anyway, I think that's all 7.
Yeah, I would probably for caster. I'd probably do Hans.
I can see that too. Actually, that makes a lot more sense as Hans is an author and Bush. Mash loves books. I literally try to combine the words Mash and books.
Mush, bash, bush, whatever. Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Thank you, guy who keeps changing our titles for your request. We're moving on to Isekai FBI. I've seen this person around. What?
Hold on.
All right. Okay.
This is a mailbag.
Yeah. So, okay, hey, sorry about my question last week. I didn't know you're not that deep into Fate's strange fake stories. I apologize for my assumption. So, now we're more strict for the time I mailbag. Let's do fast talk instead. I thought it'd be more interesting content for this. So just answer the questions as fast as you can. You can take turns this one, read, other read, blah, 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 blah. You don't have to answer as fast as you can. I only gave it 10 because I respect the time. I hope you like it. Ooh la la. Okay, questions start, go. I'm just gonna go through my 10 real quick, and then you can do your 10, okay?
Okay.
Fate's Day Night, Lostbelt 2, Salter, Cavalry, Multi-Roll, Arts Up, both.
Okay, for me, Fate's Day Night, Lostbelt 2, Jalter, Knights, Multi, NP game. Let's go with both. Definitely that first thing. Also coffee and bacon. Omega doesn't actually like ham. There you go. We're done.
We're done.
Mail bomb!
We out. And we move on to, well, first off, thank you, Isekai FBI. Like, I have nothing to hide. Probably. Anyway, this one goes on to, from Definitely Broke High Schooler. Dear Lucky Make It, what's your favorite OST from Fate Go?
Right now, probably me, the Grand Battle, the Part 2 Grand Battle.
For me, mine, I think my still my favorite. It's kind of hard for me to pick, but they're both from Solomon. It's Shikisai, The Time of the Parting Has Come. It's basically the orchestra version of the opening.
Mm-hmm.
Or Shisekai, Snowflake Shield, which is basically the music box melody that plays when Mash does the thing. And you cry.
Speaking of Solomon, my number 2, and probably other than that, would be just the OST thing that's titled Fate Grand Order. That's the big big remix of the main title theme. Listen, it's rough, dude. There's a lot of really fucking good music.
Oh, yeah, it is. Like, honestly, I've been going through, I actually bought, the tracks in game so I can listen to them, whatever. Like, honestly, if I had the mats, I would literally just be buying all these. I would.
Yeah. Though, I think we should give an honorable mention shout out to Tree Theme.
Oh, yeah, that dubstep Tree is, I'm all like, it's like, Tree, when you pick up a DJ gig?
I mean, they're kind of a laser light show.
They are.
Anyway, we'll talk more about that later.
Mm-hmm. So, I said all the music's really good, but when I think about my favorite tracks, that's when I always go back to. So, Definitely Broke High Schooler, thank you for your comment. This next one comes from the guy who just accidentally listened to a 30-minute long ad. How? Hey, Lucky Omega, if you guys can enlighten us on how specific MPs of a servant work in a real Holy Grail context, like exactly how Tomo Cat's MP works exactly, and how effective in a Holy Grail war. Like if you put in a Teach Me Omega, I just list all the MPs.
Okay, I'm not doing that. There's too many NPs. There are like 200 of these motherfuckers.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I will say this about MPs. Don't look at the context of what it does in-game. Actually go into their profile and read what they do.
Yes, most servants will have in their in-game profile or in their translated mats, if they're up that far, will have a description of what it's supposed to do. I think the only one who doesn't really is Merlin. Still have no idea what the fuck that does.
Yeah, it's like, one that comes immediately to mind to me is Nightingale. I'm actually probably going to mention this later because I think there's another question. Nightingale Pledge. In-game, it just gives you some heals and some clears. In actual Holy Grail conflicts, it just stops all conflict immediately.
Yes.
In a zone, just like
it's
no.
Great. Creates a zone of absolute safety. Guns will not fire, bombs will not explode, magecraft and noble phantasms cannot be used.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's nuts. And so, Tomocats, definitely is a little bit weirder because it is definitely a lot more abstract. It just basically says it's mimicking, a game nobles used to play. But it probably just means that Tomocat just gets real good at hunting person and gets gonna cut them the fuck up.
Yeah, so here's the weird thing, not to derail us too long, but the weird thing about Tomocat's NP is it's technically self-targeting.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's Tomocat's version of Tomomo's Eightfold Blessings.
Yeah.
So basically, instead of using unlimited magical energy to, use her spellcraft and stuff, Tomocat just gets really energetic and puts the enemy in quote-unquote a dangerous situation, i.e. it just puts them in a context where she's hunting them like a tiger. And then she murderizes them and takes a nap. That's it.
Yes.
That's all it does. It's really weird. It's also rank D+ or something.
Mm-hmm.
And to Tyranno King's question comment down in the chat, that's because of the fluff, but most Indian NPs are incredibly bullshit. I think Karna has 2 anti-country NPs. It's crazy.
What was the fucking anti-god needle he has?
Oh, Vasavi Shakti? Yeah, that's his anti-divine weapon, which is so good that it can defeat even a god, but even when he's not using that, he's got Brahmastra Kundala is just oh yeah, it's anti-country. If he throws it, it's a low-yield nuclear weapon. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Fine. Yeah, no, people don't understand, in the context of the game, NPs are kind of meh. But in the context of what they actually do, they're wild. They're fucking wild, yo. This is like Pokemon, like, legendary levels of, like, why would you give anyone this amount of power?
Or what do you even think about those, those legendary Pokemon usually have signature moves that, like, oh, I'm just gonna kill a boss using Sacred Flame or Spatial Rend. It's fine. Everything's fine.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah.
But whatever. Guy
Like, even Excalibur, we talk about it, just shooting beams. It's a sword that brings victory.
Well, Excalibur is fine because Excalibur literally has fucking seals placed on it.
Well, yeah, it's true. Excalibur is restricted in what it can do, but it still amplifies the sword strike into a beam. So, like, when they use it as an AoE, they're not kidding. Like, Artura can literally lay out an army with that beam if she feels like it, or blow up a fortress. The original ancient fortress NB.
Hang on. Where is it? I'm gonna post it. Because, well, Arturia might not do it. Fucking Saber Arbiter has no problem. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest and flashiest Excalibur has ever been.
It's great. Okay, so, the guy who accidentally just listened to a 30-minute long ad, I might need details later. Thank you. So, next one comes from, I'm definitely not lucky, I swear. I'm not sure if they're talking about actual luck or they're talking about me.
It's capitalized.
It is capitalized. Question. What servant do you think guys need to rework for game... Bleh. What servant, if any, do you guys think we need to rework for gameplay or thematic reasons? Knee-jerk reaction? Geronimo.
Yeah, Geronimo's a big one. Actually having, because I wanted to do it, I did his profile for the homebrew, and it's actually quite interesting what all those skills are supposed to do, and they're just card do goo.
Like, again, as a character, I really like Geronimo, but I look at his kit, I look at his MP, I'm just like, bruh.
Yeah, no, it's very weird. It's very, very weird. Because, like, what the Bloody Devil Buster Up is supposed to be is, as a caster, he has complete martial skills, because he was a warrior, too. So, he is an expert at guns, bows, spears, and knives. Okay? It's a Buster Up. Also, I think his animations don't showcase any of that stuff. So, yeah, no. That's a big one who, both for lore and mechanics, probably could really use a rebuild and explanation. Like, Phantom could use some buffs, but I think his kit is fully thematic. It's just launch game, so it's kind of crappy.
Yeah, no, again, like I said, Geronimo, solid bro. I fucking adore him. Like, ever since I'm American, I was like, oh no, this guy's actually really fucking cool. But, God, it's just kit. Heck.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Emblem, I retweeted it.
I don't think Emblem's not listening, yeah.
God damn it. Someone tell Emblem that I retweeted it at some point and I'll look later, but not now.
We'll solve that problem later.
Later. Cause we still got a half hour left. So, I am definitely not lucky, I swear. Thank you for your comment. And now we are going to go on to Smeedorf, the majestic canoodling noodle mage. My question for you two is, what are your favorite NA or JP Welfare servants, visual personality, and gameplay-wise?
Well, Omega's never gonna say no to more Ishtar.
No. Like, honestly, I know this might, I think I have to say my favorites, not necessarily for gameplay reasons, just for personality reasons. I like my Liz trio.
Liz's are fun.
Like I said, I'm excited for the rerun so I can get the other Mecha Ellie, and I can dual-wield Mecha Ellies. I'm not gonna need to dual-wield Mecha Ellies, but I'm gonna.
Yeah, because they're technically separate spirit origins. You can double Mecha Liz. It's the coolest.
Yeah. It is the coolest.
I'm also in much anticipation of Summer Jean Alter, just because that's her at her most chuny, and I'm gonna have a good time. In terms of creativity, I think the weirdest, like in terms of mechanics, Nobu and Chloe and Shiki have like been so good and useful to me. Writer Kentucky too a lot.
Shiki, I could definitely say, yeah, holy shit.
Oh my god, yeah, Assassins is a rough class. And she's, all these years later, Assassin Shiki is still holding down a very, very decent slot in there. But honestly, I think a lot of them, they're more recent, but I think a lot of the, they're very creative with a lot of the Christmases. Like Altera the Santa, Samba Ket's Nightingale. She's Mary Poppins, y'all. Like, those are all really, really fun. But mechanically also, I'm really going to be happy when they give me that Onikure.
Yeah, I think the one I'm probably most excited about is Shooten, just because one, it's Shooten, and two, it's Caster Shooten. Yeah. But then after that, probably Nightingale. I don't know what Nightingale's kit is, but it's a Santa fucking Nightingale, y'all. That's all I need. Give.
One of her skills is called Assault Medicine. It's the bestestest.
So, Smeardorf, the majestic canoodling noodle mage. Thank you, but we must go on. This one is from Emblem. Hey. To make it short for this one, who, by lore alone, is your favorite servant in the game?
Who's got the deepest lore?
Like, honestly, like, oh god, man, deepest, like, I want to say Tiamat but she's technically not a servant yet. So, Tamamo lore is pretty fucking deep. Like, I'm actually starting to suspect that Dodgy might, I shouldn't say Dodgy, that has not been confirmed, that Tomomovich who might be Dodgy, might actually be a beast. I think I mentioned that last week. And just all the different facets of Tamamo and her interconnection with other characters. It's always, like, a fun time for me. Especially when you start going back to, like, lore, the deepest lore of Amaterasu and whatnot. Like I said, she's a girl with a lot of baggage, and all she wants to do is be the perfect perfect housewife. Crazy.
Yeah, lore. There's a lot of really interesting and deep lore, so Omega loves lore.
Mm.
I'm trying to think, who do I think is the loriest lore that ever lored?
I think the only confirmed image of Amaterasu is in Fate Extra.
Yes. You see golden furred white-faced fox, it's just Tamamo, but huger and more glowing and slightly more naked. Only slightly, though, because apparently somebody in the art team had a conscience and was like, morally, I don't know if we can depict our chief deity as naked apron.
Hang on.
Lucky you'll pull it up while Omega thinks about servant's lore.
Shit. That didn't load like as I wanted. There it goes.
Yeah, I don't know, I think I'm too sleepy for this question. I like a lot of lore. Picking out one character whose lore I really, really like the most is hard. Like, they do a lot of really good and interesting things with a lot of the lore questions. And even what-ifs.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. That's It's a broad question that I will yell at loudly. Probably they've gotten better at the I think the lore axing in later units. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of units. Probably the biggest or at least the most recent one they've done that's a very big pull in terms of lore is Romulus Quirinus. Because like I said, they pitched that one a while back. So that's a pretty good, I think, execution. So we'll go with that as my answer. So I have an answer. Ow. I bumped my headphones on my microphone as I looked away to blink rapidly. I don't know why my eyes are kind of watery.
Anyways, Emblem, thank you very much for your question. We move on to the Soldier of Forbidden Justice. Question. Hey guys, love the channel. Question is, do you feel the community overhypes certain servants to then later disappoint or disappear from discussion a few weeks later? Any thoughts?
Yes.
Yes. Like, as I said, that's the thing. People, like, especially in NA, people will... This is the thing they do. They'll get really excited for a servant, they'll get their servant, and then they'll immediately move on to the next excited servant.
Yeah, honestly, especially with the saving both mats and courts, that's definitely a thing I think we're like, oh yeah, we should definitely save for blah blah blah, and then if you happen to have all your EXPs and mats and whatever to immediately go to level 90, 10 Scotty, okay, cool, you have nothing to talk about, you're the Scotty guy now. Cool, what are you going to save for next? Like, but this is something that happens with all game design, with anything that's got sequential releases. Video games, tabletop games, whatever. You show a preview, you talk something up, you show it out, people get super excited, they get super hype. They will either theory craft or, depending on what you're doing, they will play test it. Like, for instance, if you played a unit in JP before it came to NA, even though you don't, like, really, really play JP, but you still test out new units there and stuff, you will get excited, you'll get hype, you'll dissect it, and then by the time the quote-unquote real release comes out, everybody is either thinks they've solved it or have actually solved it, the question of, like, the mechanics of this unit, and their opinions are just, okay, it's cool, I'll just keep using it like I've been trying or been theory crafting, or they've thrown it away. Like, the upsets are when somebody looks at a unit, goes, this unit is awful or doesn't do what I want it to do, and then discards it, and then it actually comes out, and because there are people in this world who either don't pay attention to those people who say that stuff, or do but have their own thoughts on this, who will go and be like, no, actually, this is really good. So sleeper hits, I think, are much more common than a unit being hype and staying hype.
Yeah. So, Soldier of Forbidden Justice, thank you for a comment. We move on from that one who would love to be Rhaenys' pupil. Dear Lucky and Omega, I only have 2 quick questions because my time is being consumed by farming Falks for Steel. 1, why do the 2 of you refer to yourself in the third person? Is it a personal reason or custom? I ask because your voices are quite distinctive and I find it difficult for people to be confused enough to require clarification. And 2, what would you like more? Summer Semiramis, Summer Timoe, or Summer Nessa? I say goodbye from Argentina, and I wish you both luck for when you 2 of you roll for Best Mother. Actually, are you rolling for Scotty, Omega?
I will remember. Spend a singular 10 pull, as I always do on the meta, and then I'll probably get like 5 Scotties for no goddamn reason. And then I'm gonna try and roll when there's a Sherlock raid up or something, or there'll be a summer and I'll get fucking nothing, because that's my curse. I can answer the second question really quick first, Tomoe. Also, my immediate thought when you say roll for Best Mother would be like, yeah, we will need luck when Tiamat comes out.
Exactly. So I'm not that keen on Summer Semiramis, I'm not gonna lie. Okay. But between Summer Tomoe and Summer Nessa, I'm actually gonna split Nessa. Give me those chicken thighs.
Nessa could be fun. So for the first one, it's not customary. That's not like some weird American thing you haven't heard of, referring to ourselves in the third person. That's actually more other languages where you need filler nouns. Occasionally, it's a funny thing, but also, despite the fact that they say that they can tell us quite apart, some people can't.
We've actually gotten a lot of people, like, asking for Omega when they're talking to me, and I'm also like, I am mad now.
And vice versa. Like, there's a lot of confusion where stuff goes on, and sometimes it's an accident. They're like, ah, shit, I meant the other one, and I didn't say it, because, you know, people get confused, and our names are usually put together in the same sentence. But yeah, no, it's good to occasionally be like, no, I, Omega, am speaking right now, and that's my thoughts and feelings, which are separate from Lucky. He's over there.
Lucky doesn't actually know why he speaks in third person. He just does.
I think it works for the podcast.
I think it does too.
Okay.
I think it's weird because I'll switch between saying I and Lucky just constantly. I think that weirds some people out. I don't know. Anyway, that one who would love to be Rhaenys' people, thank you very much. We're going to move on to Bunny Dojinse Sensei. That's a nice name. I like it. Who asks, what has been your favorite Singularity, EOR, LB so far? What has been your least favorite? Really love your content and looking forward to Lucky doing the mailbox. Bring smiles and clarity to the party. Ooh, clarity. How dare me. Let's see, my favorite and least. Well, least is easy. Least is I'm gonna go back down to Symptom. I mean, I'm sorry. It was just kind of a slog.
Yeah, it's probably gotta be. While I was annoyed and slightly offended by parts of Salem, it's not actually that badly written. Septum's just a blah. It's just like, we don't know what we're doing, and we've got a lot of units to fill in, so we're just gonna make some shit up. Okay, fine.
Make some shit up. But my favorite... the Solomon count?
Sure.
Like, Solomon was just a great combination of, well, the first part of your journey, I guess. everything led up to that moment, and it had some gut punches. It did not hold back. But as again, like, Babylonia, I really just like, honestly, because Tiamat's in it, and I'm like, yes. Show me Dragon Mom. But for, like, I think I cried at least 3 times playing Solomon. So, that's probably my favorite. What's your favorite, Omega?
Solomon's a good one. I think that would probably be, because it's hard to beat climaxes.
It really is.
Other than that, I think, in general, yeah, Babylonia. Like, it'll be interesting to see further Lostbelts. I don't necessarily want to sell undersell Lostbelt 1 and 2, but they are very much beginnings. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of where they shake up compared to other stuff. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
Alright, so thank you, Bunny Doujinshi Sensei. Now we move to Gilgamesh's Extremely Loud NP. If you could change anything in the Babylonian anime, what would it be? Personally, I feel they didn't do King Hassan's NP justice.
That's because they didn't do his NP. You notice how he didn't say Azrael?
No.
That could be a change, though, him actually doing his NP.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly on the points, I definitely think they did not do Eresh's NP right. That was very shoehorned.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Lord Camelot was really shoehorned most of the time. I think there was like one good time in the Eresh fight that was actually, this is a good and necessary use of Lord Camelot. All the rest were kind of
Lucky has a few. I don't know if I can pick one. One, I will eternally be upset they didn't do Sky High Rider Justman's Bomb. I actually felt that scene was really rushed, just in general. 2, I wish they had actually made a Gorgon versus Tiamat kaiju fight.
Yeah, that was another pretty quick one. It's like, look, Gorgon did her NP. Animators away! We've got to go work on Enkidu's scene, which is much higher quality and way more heart-tugging.
I guess.
I don't know, that's probably how animation works. That was that same episode, I think.
Not
to say, by the way, that whole sequence isn't brilliant and heartrending every time, but, you know, why aren't they all that way?
And finally, I kind of wish they went a little bit more with the final scene with Tiamat. Things were kind of vague with, Fujimaru entering the fucking mind space.
Yeah, that was very just... Is this symbolic? Is it real? Who the fuck knows?
I mean, they're probably going for something like that, but I was like, I need a little bit more. Just a little bit.
But now we're gonna play the main theme, and we're gonna have Gilgamesh do a really loud NP. Cool.
Yeah. How on point for this person's alias. So, Gilgamesh is extremely loud NP. Thank you for your question. Oh yeah, this is the one I was actually thinking of. This one comes from Mikon Kon. Dear Lucky and Omega, how are you doing? Shittily. My question is, who comes to mind first when you ask about a servant who is powerful lore-wise, but not in-game? Nightingale.
Yeah.
Literally a zone of, you can't do combat. Just stop.
Which, by the way, it's like rank C+. That's not even like a high rank NP. She just does that.
Yeah.
Da Vinci, I think, is another big example. Like, we use her NP just as a giant magic nuke, but it's actually supposed to be like, instantaneously calculates the exact amount of energy needed to completely destroy the energy, and can also be used to completely and perfectly counter somebody's NP if used. Like, it's real bullshit. Who else?
Like, I can't think of actual fluff descriptions off the top of my head. But
like, there are a decent like a lot of our big busters, like, obviously you're like, oh, well, the enemy didn't all automatically die, but it was still pretty good. Like, Vasavi Shakti still hits pretty hard, you know.
Actually, if I remember, fucking, Nobu's, 3-line, formation's actually pretty bullshit, too. Didn't we theorize that she could technically defeat Gil with that?
Yeah, that's more because of her second NP, which isn't referenced at all, but yes, she has a reality marble, which gives her absolute authority over, beings of divinity and mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Which should mean that most high-end units like Karna, like Gil, yes, I know Nasu lied and told you it can't work, but what he says in an interview doesn't count. Death of the author. Sorry, Omega's still sassy that people are like, but Nasu said in an interview. Lies. It doesn't matter if he says it in an interview. It's not true if it's not in the fiction. Fuck you. That's like J.K. Rowling constantly commenting about background shit. It doesn't matter. It's not in the print. It's not real. But yeah, that's another thing. Nobu is, and well, you could say a lot of people don't think that Avenger Nobu Mao is very, very mechanically impressive. That would definitely, the 5-star version of Nobu is definitely very high tier. Let's see. Anybody? I think
here's
most
one
of the
fucking
really good units. Go ahead.
Fucking Martha, and Tarask. Tarask is fucking terrifying.
Actually, that's true. Yes, Tarask spins like a UFO and like blows up the enemy camp and fire and shit. It's weird.
Yeah.
Also, here's a fun fact: if they ever need to get Martha a strengthening, she can summon the Tarask's shell to temporarily protect an ally. Like, that's just another NP she has. Martha, most Saints are pretty bullshit, but Martha has like 4 NPs that aren't represented. That's probably a pretty good one. And you just used her for AoE debuff clear.
Yeah. So, like, again, like, honestly, like, this is the problem with FGO is it's hard to quantify some of the bullshit things servers can do in a rigid game sense. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But they do what they can. So,
yeah, I think that's most servants, at least, they carry over some of that full stuff. But yeah.
So, thank you for your question. We'll move on to Mr. Ive. Awesome show. Always cool to hear you guys talk about stuff. My question is, who are the servants that you think they need an animation update the most? The first that comes to mind would be Ku, Oz, and Medusa. We'd love to hear your thoughts about who needs an update. May your 10 spins be blessed.
Cool.
Medusa already got an animation update.
Yeah, not that that necessarily locks them out, but they've got animation updates so that they actually do the stuff from Fate. I think they're fine.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Da Vinci, BT dubs. Her sprite needs fixing more than her actual animations, but like, let's just go the whole package.
Lucky would like Ushi Wakamaru.
Ooh, yeah, Ushi's another one of my. I think those are my personal big two. Like in general, anybody who's still got caster balls needs a fix, but
yeah.
Okay, I'll take this 2 ways. One, I think Da Vinci just because of Da Vinci small reasons, but basically anybody in Babylonia who doesn't have an animation update. Uji, Leo, all those guys. Do they even? They don't, do they? They don't even show the shields in Leonidas' NP, right? It's just, it gets glowy and hot.
I couldn't tell you.
I think that's what it does. Yeah, it's not as impressive. Leonidas needs like 90% more Ghost Spartans in his animations.
He is supposed to be summoning them. So yeah. Mr. Ive, thank you very much for your question. We're gonna move on to alias, let's see here. Ponflin? They actually gave a pronunciation, which I'm super, super thankful for. And then I realized, Lucky can't read the pronunciation guides. I have fucked myself. Emphasis accent on the I. Ponflin. Hi, I love the show and want to know what servant you have a favorite right now in my room and why. Or do you have it random as like I do, because I can't choose. Lucky has it on randomize.
I should set it on randomize. It's still a rush right now.
No one's gonna blame you. Anyway, thank you, alias Panflin-kun. If I butchered it, I'm sorry. Next one comes from Fluffy as Love, Fluffy as Life. Question. Hi, Lucky Mega. Thanks for your answer last time. Keep up the great work. My question this week. Nowadays, most of my servant comp is gold servants, but I'm always grateful to my lower rarity servants who carried me when I started. Who is your early game MVPs? Mine was Caesar, David, Castle Q, and Cursed Arm Hassan. Let's see here. Who do I use a lot early days?
Well, I still use a rash, so.
Oh man, Lucky's trying to think of his early day comps, and he's not coming up with much.
Well, so, because of the assassin problem, Sasuke Kojiro, that's why there are those memes about him. He killed a lot of wyverns. Until Merlin came out, I actually used Leonidas as I used a lot of Leonidas and Hans as my general support, and I used Hans before I got Waver, and I used Leonidas before I got Merlin. And still will occasionally use those guys when it suits me.
I mean,
I used a boatload of Robin and Urale. And I grailed Medusa, so I think that's most of it. Honestly, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, honestly, I'm trying to think, and I'm not pulling up anything. Like, I remember I used a lot of Tomcat, but as I said, she's an SR. But other than that, like, I'm kind of blanking. Like, I'm not sure.
I believe I used a decent amount of Casterku as well, just because casters. Similarly, I still use Medea sometimes now, just because there's only so many single target casters.
Mm-hmm.
Ushi and Medusa were popular for riders. Basically, anything I didn't have a gold in, which was most of them. Was there an FP unit who came out then? I used them. You know, with certain exceptions. Like I never actually used Vanilla Coup a lot. Though part of that is because I did get Liz on my tutorial role, so I did have a Lancer. Also, I gotta be honest, I think I got other higher level berserkers earlier. Maybe it was Kyo, but I never used a lot of the bronze berserkers.
Like, yeah, I never did either. I think I used I used a lot of Kyo and Tomcat, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. But we're gonna keep going. So thank you, Fluffy is love, Fluffy is life. We're gonna move on to the Tyrant-eating Tyrants. Hey, Lucky Omega, my question is, you are isekai'd into current FGO in a story event. What is the first thing you do? Keep up the great work and hope your GSSR and Skyder rolls are blessed. I scream.
Hug Mash. Tell her she's doing a good job. Then take a nap. We can still... This is FGO. We can still do work while we nap.
Yes. So, Tyrant-eating Tyrant, thank you for your comment. We move on to the St. Court Saving Bank. Hey, Lucky Omega, love the content and keep up the great work. No, thank you. My question is, what is your favorite artist/artwork in FGO, Servant or CE?
I think it's gotta be Redrop.
Yeah. Redrop is top percent, y'all. Like I said, I'm super excited for Kama. I'm super excited. Following that, it has to be Raita, and then Wada Arco. The trinity of fucking horny on main.
I would also like to shout out not just to the horny ones, but also just to the people who are absolute mad lads all the time. Paco.
Yep, Paco.
Absolute maniac. And actually also Azusa, Canis' artist, is very often will draw Canis alt arts or just draw other art of just stuff. They they're really into being... There's a long list of artists who are really happy and proud to be in FGO. Those guys we have all mentioned among them, so... Yeah. But definitely if you want that big horny energy, buy Wada's and Raita's art books.
Mm-hmm.
You can also, they also, like, Raita especially loves his classy little details.
Man, every time I think about Paco, I just think about the art he posted of Karna sitting on the elephant slide that looks like Jinako, and I'm just like, Paco, you hit me in the feels. I think it was literally that moment I was all like, I need Karna. I just need Karna.
Paco, I believe, also did, like, I think it was, they drew an Arjuna altar, like, Daki and stuff. Like, Paco's just an absolute lunatic. And you will recognize them because they do, you know...
Didn't Paco do most of the fucking Hindu gods?
Yes, they're Karna and Arjuna and all that, because they're supposed to be opposites. They didn't do Jinako because that's still Wada Arco, and didn't do Pavarti, but they did like all versions of Karna, Arjuna, etc. Ashvataman. Paco also does a lot of the Guda Guda crew, like all the Nobus.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, Arjuna Alter, Karna, Arjuna, Asavataman. Oh, also did Ryoma. Did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's in that Guda Guda crew. Mm-hmm. Absolute madman. Excuse me.
Yeah, so he's wild. He's wild, yo. But honestly, like I said, a lot of great artists, a lot of great. Like I'm not gonna be able to literally pick one. So, but we got to keep going. We got less than 5 minutes. So, Alias, CE matching proto. Hello to Lucky and Mega. In the previous mail, when I typed out calling out, I meant mentioning someone/thing. So this question might be long. Sorry regarding CDs. If I had an event CE that I can't MLB, should I fuse them regardless or bring it up to max level? Sorry if this question is long and good luck. If you can't do it, just fuse it anyway, especially if the event is not getting another rerun.
Yeah, just compact them down. Save space.
Compact them down. Save them. And don't worry too much. Even there are some CEs out there that are great even regardless. Fucking Little Halloween Devil is fucking fantastic. It's not even goddamn MLB. It still matches most, MLB versions of it. But, CE Matching Proto, thank you for your question. We are moving on to 2-Star Gunner. Hey, Lucky and Mega, just want to say keep up the work and good luck on your future roles. Smoke Bomb. Oh, that guy was smooth. Thank you very much, 2-Star Gunner.
Double thumbs up.
Mm-hmm. This one from BB Bully Buddy Crew. Happy birthday. Fuck you. Also, when things go bad with Gotcha, how do you manage your salt level? I lay down on the floor and cry. Omega.
I think we've got this question before. I also lay on the floor and just sing One Is the Loneliest Number.
So, BB Bully Buddy Crew, thank you very much. We're going on from next one, the Best Goddess. Hi, Lucky and Meg. I'm just trying to ask, what's the high amount of QP you've had just sitting there doing nothing with for how long? Also, great show, keep it up. From Best Goddess. I think Lucky was sitting around 200 million QP, and he has never, ever reached that point ever again.
I think I might have gotten up to 300 million before I spent it, but no, 200 mil is usually I have a lot of QP. And then you feed a Resh 4 grails, and suddenly you have only 100 million QP. Funny how that works.
Mm-hmm. So thank you, Best Goddess. Next one comes from Survivor of the Second Emu War. Hey, Lucky Mega, thanks for spouting a bunch of stuff that is pleasant to our human ears to listen to. Here is my question. We've had several characters actually be fleshed out in their interludes or events to make up for sometimes not having a character if they pay in the main story. My question for you is this time, is there anyone on the roster you just want to have more time to be a character? For example, an event where you get to hang with Phantom or even Jekyll to let them have a bit of limelight for the writers to flesh them out more. Who am I wanting to spend more time with right now? I honestly don't know. Honestly, interludes are pretty on point. Yeah. The characters I want to spend time with, I usually get to spend time with.
I'm trying to think who, and also knowing that people will get spotlight. Phantom is probably a poor boy who, even though he was in Shinjuku, didn't really get to do a lot, but at least he was creepy and weird, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think most characters...
Does Parvati have an interlude?
I believe she has one, yeah.
I
believe also she appears in supporting for other characters. I'm trying to think. Most characters I know of and have interludes. And we get to hang out with them a lot. We got to hang out with Billy. There's a lot of stuff. Maybe old welfares?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
What's Irie been up to? What's she doing besides
Irie
being a mommy? Talking to people, That could be neat. I think they even occasionally give Summers interludes. That's probably it. Would be welfares and seasonals who just don't get that kind of coverage. We don't get to see them again. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think everybody I actually, like I said, everybody I have and has or will get an interlude or decent story coverage.
So, Survivor of the Second Emu War, thank you for your question. This next one is our last one, as there is only 20 seconds left on the clock. But this one comes from alias Shion. Hey, I'm in the game now. Greetings, Lucky and Mega. I have a pretty easy question for you this week. How do you make time to play FGO semi-consistently? As someone who is constantly busy or feels constantly busy, I feel like some days I can't do more than log in. If you could offer tips, that'd be great. P.S. The only reason I posted so early is work has me up at the crack of dawn. Yep, that was the timer going off. So this is our last question. Lucky for his part, as I said, Lucky's good at the multitasking. Usually, if I'm doing FGO, I'm doing something else. The fun thing about FGO is, unless you're actually doing story bits, it does not actually require that much of your attention. So it is not that difficult to to multitask. When you're just doing standard grinding or whatnot, just pick on something else. Like, just do it while you're doing something else. Like, Lucky tends to play other gacha games while playing FGO. He watches anime while playing FGO. Reading plays FGO.
If you're doing your daily grind, especially with the repeat quest feature they've just added, you can spend your AP pretty quick and do your stuff and move on.
Like, you have to remember, even at, like, level, like, I don't know, like, 140, you still can only do about 340 quests, like, I want to say a day, but, like, every 12 hours. That can go pretty quick if you have, if you know what you're doing. And that's, like, maybe, like, 5 minutes apiece?
Yeah, no.
On events, though, I will definitely say it's a little more tricky. It's just about, as I said, knowing, when you need to pay attention and when you don't need to pay attention.
Yeah, and I'd say for events, the thing that usually gets me, besides just story stuff, which obviously, you know, there's that, but it's just like look at a store, look at a CE, whatever, and think, I want that. Whether it's you want some new mat, or you look at this CE of Medusa in a sailor costume that you can only get by doing the points ladder, and you're like, I want that. That's what usually works for me. And then depending on the, like, Lucky and I both are filthy casual. We don't go super whole hog on events, right? Like, but even as simple as being like, oh, I can do a lotto to get lots of skill gems. Well, I want skill gems, so I'll do as much of the lotto as I can, and then when I can't do it anymore, I stop.
Yeah, don't feel like you need to push yourself.
Yeah, try not to get discouraged by people who are like, I did 500 lotto boxes in 1 week. Those people probably aren't busy and don't have anything better to do with their time.
But let's see here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 that we did not get to.
So we can average probably about 30, because I think we only skipped a couple, and I think we got about 30 last week. An average about 30 an hour.
Yeah. So that's about, sounds like we take about like 2 minutes per then.
But also kind of gotta be honest, since there's 11 left, that's another pretty decent chunk of time to handle. So, we'll keep to our cutoff, because we are actually relatively on time. We're only about an hour 20.
Alright, so if your comment did not get read, I do apologize. But, you know, just copy, paste, and keep putting it in Mailbag. It'll get read eventually.
And also, I don't think it's strictly speaking, like, it's not strictly speaking chronological. Because if you get, like, upvoted or whatever, some of them get shuffled around, and also occasionally, sometimes I'll refresh the page and they're in a different order, so. Yep. Okay. Alright, hold on. Gonna yawn?
He's gonna yawn.
Alright, now that all of you have yawned, and I am slightly less sleepy, let's move into free talk. First comment. I don't know if you guys have noticed, because it does usually tend to happen around reset, but also that's the middle of the night. But we've been having a lot of Hotfix main lately, in English. Never for very long, but past couple of nights there's been a quick little maintenance. Just be like, hey, we're fixing something. Not really sure what they're fixing, but they're fixing stuff.
Might be setting some groundwork for anniversary. And honestly, I think some of the hotfixes are just fixing something that the other hotfix borked.
Yeah, that often happens with hotfixes. We're on a new engine. There's probably a little bit of glitching because we're still not 1-to-1 parity with JP. So goodness knows where there's like a little bit of code missing or that's been added. They got to fix it. I've also heard people pointing out, because there are a couple of small data downloads with this. There have been a couple of small patches where some dialogue files have been added. Like Bunyan got some new dialogue just before her rerun, stuff like that. Sneaky mate. But yeah, we have noticed it happen. We don't know what's up either, but it's happening. Usually it's short. And hey, free sync words.
Yep, excited.
So I think I'm gonna take, because we're gonna do deep thoughts. I'm gonna like take a $5. We're gonna do an intermission, and I'm gonna like go run around the house or something and try and wake up slightly.
Okay.
Because I gotta be honest, mostly I just sat here listening while Lucky read mail. So, for the people listening to the final product, there'll be no wait, but we're gonna take a brief intermission here. All right, we're back. Super loud. There you go. That's how you know we're back. Everybody's alive. Mm-hmm. By the way, if anybody's wondering at home, Omega is water cooled. These big old ice blocks to keep his brain running. All right. Okay. I sound kind of soft now, actually, probably because I was loud. Let me adjust that slightly. So, that was the main thing. Now we're going to do our Lostbelt 2 deep dive. If you're not done with Lostbelt 2 yet, this is your last chance to get off the boat.
Just jump.
Yeah, just take a little hop. So, okay, my first bullet point, and kind of general where we left off in first impressions, because Lucky was done, but I wasn't yet. It was a little bit before the midpoint. Like, personally, I had quit just before, just after running into Bryn, which is kind of just before the second act twist, basically, because of some stuff that happens with some guys and some things, which we will allude to later. But I put my first bullet point down as we need to take a second to talk about the music in Lostbelt 2.
I mean how great it is?
Yes. Which I think is something you said last week, was like, low-key, all the music's good. It is. There's not only do we use a lot of the same classic Lostbelt tunes, that, like I said, the kind of, the new version of the mystery music that's kind of sweeping with the choir, the Grand Battle theme a couple of times.
Flavor.
Also, actually, here's a really good question. I don't know if this was a bug or not, but it was pretty neat. During the climactic fight with Scotty and then with the tree, I had a thing where NP voice lines weren't read. I don't know if that's intentional or was just a weird glitch, but it was kind of cool.
I had that bug.
Yeah. It wasn't uniform, so I think it was a bug, but it was pretty cinematic, so, possible optional feature? I don't know. But yeah, it was actually, like I said, kind of neat. But yeah, so Grand Battle themes come back, but also there's several new pieces. There's a kind of soft music boxy theme, a couple actually, which I kind of associated with Ophelia and her struggles. As I said, just the general battle theme was really good. Not like anything specific, but that was good. Also, while it goes away at the end, holy shit, the like part 2 map theme when Sunday finally happens, which is the low Gregorian chanting. Oh, that was pretty good.
Like I said, like they put in some pretty strong like Nordic influences into the music here, and I was like, I dig this.
Yeah. The music is very appropriate, and manages to be distinct from Lostbelt 1, even though they have arguably similar settings.
Yes.
Which we are vastly going to change, because I'm not sure when they're going to clarify that, but we're going to drive all the way to China next, so. But yeah, music, top tier. Can't wait for them to start adding Lostbelt tracks to the OST player.
Have they added Lostbelt tracks to JP yet?
I'm gonna guess so, because the first Lostbelt soundtrack is out. I think that's kind of what they do it for, you know, is in time with the actual soundtracks being released. But I'm not sure. But that would make sense. If somebody knows for sure, let me know.
Oh, yeah, let me organize some things. Okay, wait, no, I fucked up.
But also just in general, all the Lostbelt and the music is all very sad and poignant. Yes, we know this. But I think something that in the overall is almost more important. Well, yeah, the personal struggles and themes are really good and important too. But there's a lot of lore dumped in this story in particular, like even more so than the first Lostbelt. Including an on-screen appearance by the alien god. Because Ophelia has a lot of flashbacks. Which is good, because I hope we maintain this theme with a lot of the cryptors, but it's as one of our major antagonists, and I say antagonist, not villain, she is one of our major oppositions until the end. But even so, there's a lot of... There's a lot of stuff she has to cover personally, not only to flavor herself in, but also she knows a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so she reports those things to us, the audience. Though not necessarily in character, because that actually probably would have maybe cleared some stuff up for later. But anyway. We get to actually see what happened, which is, Team A got in the ray shift coffins, and then they exploded. And they were probably gonna die. And then the alien god showed up as a light and was like, yo, sup? And this was only to Wodaime, by the way. Only showed up to him and was like, sup, I have revived you. I will save you. You're gonna help me now. And he's like, okay, but I'm gonna need my 6 friends. And the alien god's like, really? That's gonna hurt, right? And he's like, it's fine. They're cool. It's an even better plan than your plan, because now there's 7 plans, and the aliens got like, whatever, okay. I don't mind more plans, cool. And then, what exactly happens is not explored, but it apparently does cause Wodaime a great deal of suffering, which is why Ophelia falls in love with him, because she actually gets to see, because her eye can see possibilities. Sweet eye, by the way. We do actually get into the mechanics of her eye a lot, which is pretty cool. But that's why she falls in love with him, because another big deal about Ophelia is she's major mage. Like, she embodies all the mage stereotypes. She is here to progress the work and focus on the work, the craft, and nothing else. Which is when her pesky human emotions get in the way, is that she starts having her deep-seated emotional breakdown. But, it's okay. It's fine. It gets worked out in the end. But yeah, so but there's a lot of background there that kind of explores the setup, the alien god, what the cryptors are doing, the fact that only Wodaime and Ophelia know actually what happened, that they were, specifically saved kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That Wodaime saved them. It's an interesting look for Wodaime, right? I think you mentioned this last week, because I was only partway through. There's a lot of really interesting character growth for him, but not necessarily full-blown sympathy yet. Because while he obviously cares about his comrades, his friends, he does a lot for them, even though he's working with an enemy, his comments and decisions on stuff, especially where Ophelia is concerned, are kind of weird.
Standoffish, almost.
Yeah. If I would had to guess, it sounds almost like he's trying not to let Ophelia get too close, because he's more interested in the plan succeeding than his or her personal happiness.
Yes.
He needs the plan to work, and that means he can't have Ophelia get too touchy-feely with him, and he can get touchy-feely with her, because then they won't follow through on the plan, which is to beat up everybody's Lostbelts and become the winner.
Well, you gotta remember, Wodaime is the top % of mage, so it makes perfect sense for him to be all like, no, the goal is the goal.
Yeah.
So we're going for it?
It's, like I said, I'm not 100% sympathetic with him, but it definitely, I think, gives a lot of depth to his character, which previously was just, well, he's the boss guy who keeps taunting us for some reason. Maybe taunt is the wrong word, but he definitely speaks directly to us as the player character on a couple of points.
It's like, yes, I figured you'd be here by now, so here's my message to you. It's like, sir.
I thought you'd be here. So, as your senpai, how's things? How's life? And I'm like, you know how life is. Don't you sass me. You know what I'm dealing with. But yeah, so that was a lot of interesting stuff from there. A lot of interesting talk on Lostbelt. There's some tree stuff that comes up that I'll circle back around to later, because we don't find out about it till way later.
Hey, now that I think about it, does Daime actually try to actively discourage you, or is he just all like, that's your thing you're doing?
No, I don't think he ever tells us to quit. He's just like, hey, BT dubs, if you continue on your thing, that means we have to fight. It's a lot like how he talks to the other cryptors.
Yeah.
It really is kind of, I think the analogy we used earlier when Lostbelt 1 came out was, it really is like a time-space grail war, and we're the extra one.
Yeah. We're the extra class.
We're the weird one who's not part of the setup, but is still technically fighting in our way, because we're fighting to restore our timeline, which, as we established in the prologue of this, is super fucked. But not quite over. There were still people on the white world left. So, it's very interesting. I do also want to circle back to, especially how the way this one ends and stuff is, well, obviously the tree does stuff. Like, Scotty mentions it's a miracle, right? She has all the foresight and stuff of all the gods and figures that her timeline should have ended, but didn't. I really, because this is actually important in both a quantum physics sense and in the way that quantum time lock and stuff is treated. Information has a certain... Information is energy, basically, and energy has weight, as it were. Not like literal, but you know what I mean, hopefully. That's why you need the pruning phenomena, because if there's too much information, the physics of time and space in multiple universes can't work, basically.
Yeah.
It's similar to a philosophical question, which you probably have heard in anime before, about what's called the limit of questions, where basically, if you get enough intelligent life asking questions, maybe the universe breaks. But the reason why Lostbelts are pruned is because they won't advance. But we and all of our friends are new information. We are new energy in these timelines that change them.
Yes.
Stuff changes because they happen. So I'm definitely very curious about my own personal theory that because we happen to these timelines, they are no longer stagnant timelines and could theoretically continue, right? Like, they won't become the new world history, but they could still coexist in the kaleidoscope.
Well, like, here's the thing. The way that the world tree phenomena is things are all lines, right? Now, this was something I was actually thinking about. All these lines go in one direction, and based on things, there's nothing to say that even though that world line got prime where fucking, they turned into the beast people, there's not a fucking Paxi in our current timeline. There's not a Gerda in our timeline, just from how things work.
Also true.
It's all like, these people could exist in proper human history. They just not exist as, as a wolf man or as a child in basically a livestock camp.
Though, because of current day, Gerda would still be like a 13-year-old kid.
Yeah, Paxi would still be probably like a hunter living with his mom. It's just stuff like that.
And I think either of those possible theories are possible. I did say last time, it also could just be Nasu to be like, no, they're super dead. They're time-space dead. You must carry the weight forever. Goodbye. As Nasu just floats off to his next project. Because we know that Nasu likes suffering.
I said, because that's something I definitely think about, because this was actually a question we didn't get to in Mailbag, but someone was asking, why couldn't we save Gerda? And I'm just all like, it's like, I can understand that feeling, but at the same time, oh man, that's one of those choices.
There's a lot of choices. We're going to circle back to some of that too. There's a lot of choosing in this Lostbelt. Even more so than, actually, way more so than Lostbelt 1. Because in Lostbelt 1, until we get to the climax, we literally have no idea what the fuck we're doing. We're just doing the thing, and then we get to the end and we're just like, ooh, okay, existential crisis. And then, Paxi is just like, listen, motherfucker, you can't have an existential crisis. Your timeline's great. So
how dare you?
You better do your thing, because I know that there's a world which doesn't suck as much as this one out there, and you're supposed to be fighting for it. So you better fight, motherfucker, or I will eat you myself. As Paxi is standing there holding your collar, dying, and he's just like, you better. And then that's when we're like, no, you're right. We'll get to it, but the final confrontation in this one is, I think, even more dramatic than that, in a lot of ways. But that plays a lot to Scotty's character, which I think we'll talk about.
Honestly, I really like Scotty's character. Fuck.
Yes.
But thinking of Gerda, like, here's the thing: if you save one person, why not two people? If not two, why not three?
And then you are just, why did I decide that... You basically do what Adelante Alter did, which is like, why don't I just protect this timeline? And then you're you're doing the enemy's work while also having booped them on the snoot. It's kind of hypocritical.
Yeah.
This is something
Also-
Da Vinci references later, once you actually leave the Lostbelt, where, I think it's Munieri's like, why don't we just forget about all those guys? And Da Vinci and you are basically like, no, that's cowardly. We may have time-space murdered those people. We should remember it.
Yeah, it's like, it's one thing to save someone in the moment, but it's like, because theoretically you can say, like, back with the village, it's like they've been doing this for like several hundred years. Like, what matters does it to that if it just happens as usual? Like, you would have saved yourself trouble, you wouldn't have gotten to conflict, you could have gotten and all that stuff. But at the same time, like they say earlier, that's just, that's how you lose your humanity. That's how you become desensitized to like the human struggle and whatnot. Like, doing something in the moment, but like it's like honestly, it's really, really morally fucking it's morally fucked.
Well, and honestly, Nasi's been hitting this point since Fate's Stay Night. That's the purpose of the 3 routes, right? Is like focusing on saving everyone versus saving one person, and what does saving people even mean, really? Like, Heaven's Feel is the route where Shiro goes, no, I will save one specific person, even though I'm probably fucking over a lot of people. And pulls into a moral question, because Dark Sakura might eat some people between when you realize that's a problem and when we actually get our, self-actualization at the end.
But, like, and even on a logistical point, like, as I said, if you save one person, like, especially, like, a small, like, what was she, like, 13-year-old child?
Yeah.
That's just resources that's just gone. Because you have to take care of them. Not to mention, you don't even know if you can take a Lostbelt occupant out of the Lostbelt.
Yeah, there are protections on the Shadow Border, but we don't know how that would work, right? We've only ever handled people who are there, and even our servants who are from proper human history still disband when the Lostbelt ends, just like in Singularities. Like when the thing that lets them be anchored there goes, they go. Actually, that's another interesting way to look at it. The people in Lostbelts are almost kind of like servants. The world is saying they're not supposed to be here. The tree anchors them here. When the tree goes, the world is able to rewrite the texture. It's just that.
And so even if they and then again on top of this, do you want to be the one to explain to a 13-year-old child that everything she knows and loves is gone forever?
Well, and also I want to say this about Gerda. We already saved her, as it were. Like, she was. If we were not there, she would have been squished by a giant, and she would have been weirdly okay with that. It's weird. The last one's really weird and fucked up. But I think, honestly, her send-off is one of the most poignant, because it's...
Oh, God.
Because the thing about Paxi is he gives us his self-actualization and then dies. Like, he's just like... He takes the bullet for us and is like, dude, I've had character development. This world sucks. Your world sounds cool. Save your world. I'm dead now. Blur.
Blah.
It's kind of sad we don't get to say goodbye, but it's also, kind of important. But we do save Gerda's life, and before time ends, we did give her something. Like, I think Gerda was the only human in that world who ever wondered about the future. Like, what would happen to people? Where are her friends? What's going on other places? Like, those humans there literally didn't think about it. I think Napoleon, talks them into it, but those 2 humans who were going to go out and die, right? They were going to be selected and then sent out to die, the 2 adults. After we fuck that up, they're just like, oh, I guess we'll just go next year. Like, they have no concept of time or, thinking, even though we broke a taboo, they can't conceive of what that's like, so they just suck it up and accept it. Which is why that Lostbelt's really fucked up.
Again, now that you beat it, I definitely say, I understand why Scotty did what she did, but at the same time, it's like, God damn it.
Yes, and she even admits, there's probably some stuff I could have done, but this was my way.
That's like...
But when the moment appears, she's, 110% on there. Both to fight Surtur, and then when she's like, okay, cool, you've killed Surtur for me. Now, I can't let you break the tree. I can't let you do that. And you're like, we were friends, though? And she's like, yeah, but the tree, though. The tree is why we're still here, and why all my people are still here. It's kind of what I'm about, and we're just like, okay.
Like honestly, like Skahak, like I said, like I really don't want to paint Skahati as a villain because she is literally just trying to protect the people that she has in front of her.
Yes. She is much like Ophelia. She is an antagonist.
Yes.
She acts counter to our goals. Even when I wrote this in my notes as Scotty decides things. Like, that's a really poignant moment when, after everything's said and done, we're all just standing there and Sitanai fucks off because she doesn't have in-combat assets to tell everybody to stay inside. I see what you did there, writer. But when she just has that moment where she steals her resolve and it's just like, hey, how many living things are there in your timeline? Oh, you've probably got millions of humans, billions, and then we count all the animals and plants. Okay. And she basically just steels herself to be like, alright, I gotta beat you. I am going to kill billions and trillions of entities for my 10,000. Alright, let's go. Even though we find out later she's running out of magical energy, right? Like, she hasn't had time to recoup all the resources she spent stopping Surtur. So,
and honestly, the way I think of it is she never stopped loving you.
Yeah, it's probably true. I could almost see it as kind of almost like a suicide by cop, like, the way Scotty is, she 100% understands what she's doing by trying to fight back against us and doom all the people in our timeline, right?
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want to do it, but because who she is, she definitely 100% loves all the people in her timeline. She must do something. And she basically forces the confrontation, right? She forces it to be like, okay, you and me have to choose right here and right now. If we're fighting, we are fighting. I want my Lostbelt to live. You guys want your timeline to live too, right? Like, you're protecting all those people, right? Then we must fight.
She kind of reinforces what she must do.
Yes, and in doing so reinforces what we must do, right? Mm-hmm. Also, by the way, though, I'm thinking about it. We don't talk about it much, but that's a really cool... This segment must have been really interesting because it was the last Valkyrie, Ortolinde, and Scotty fighting against just MASH and maybe your Shadow Servants. Like, I think Lostbelt 1 probably sounds pretty interesting. Lostbelt 2 I really want to see animated. If only also for more Ophelia, but also just because there's a lot... It's shorter, and I think there's a lot more interesting action scenes that you can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you could probably cram it into 12 episodes. You just shorten all the montages where we punch giants into rocket skis. But yeah, so that's really interesting. And like I said, I think what she's doing is she's trying to reinforce for both us and her. It's like, no, you are opposed. You must, if you're going to do this job, you got to do it all the way. You must fight Lostbelts. You must cut down the tree. And all the servants and guidance we get tell us we got to cut down the tree. And also, I think motherfucking Odin told us we had to cut down the tree.
I mean, his crows were out and about.
Yeah, that was a really interesting thing that Scotty doesn't point out, though I picked it up the second time exactly 2 crows showed up. I was like, oh shit. Yeah.
Oh, no, I think I was all like, is that motherfucking Odin crow?
And it was like, no, shit. That's Hugi and the Moonin. What are they, Memory and Foresight? Something like that. So it's weird, right? Like, the last remnants of Odin were probably on our side, guiding us and Napoleon, even though they kind of dobbed Scotty out a little bit. That's kind of sad. But...
Well, again, I don't think Odin, personally, I don't know FGO Odin, but I'm pretty sure Odin would be all like, no, this is not right.
Well, yeah, no, Odin would be like, nah, dude, we're supposed to... this is after Ragnarok. We're all supposed to fuck off and die. That's how that's supposed to happen. That's fate.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, the Lostbelt happens because the actual villain of this story fought his fate.
Yes.
Because the Lostbelt version of Surtur was not just, yes, I am satisfied just burning down the gods and then letting 2 humans and, it's Balder and one of his brothers comes back because they're dead. Is it Halder? It's one of those guys. There's an overly sarcastic, there's an OSP about Ragnarok. Go watch it. It's cool. It explains the whole thing. How that's supposed to happen. But yeah, so he kicks it off by eating Fenrir, and thus gaining ice powers.
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen.
Nope. Which means that he has enough power to challenge all the gods, so Odin seals him up in the sun, and gives all the remaining authority to Scotty to keep all the remaining humans alive because he really fucked some shit up. Thanks, Surtur. Yeah, I have tree facts in here. We'll talk about tree stuff too. But yeah, so it's. I think you're right, Lucky, that Odin would be like, no, that's not how this is supposed to go.
Yeah, because you remember, like, humanity was supposed to, like, move on to a new age, but thanks to Surtur's fire, they were just literally trapped in here.
Yes, he fucked up the nature of things so well that seasons got really ruined. A lot of stuff got worked up. It was very, very interesting. Oh, another big lore thing. The mysterious hooded man from Chaldea shows up again, using magecraft to strengthen barriers. It's not runecraft, it's just a thing he does. That's really good, apparently, because the giants can't penetrate it.
Good.
So, yeah, I don't know who that guy could possibly be, but he's cool. I'm sure we'll catch up with him one of these days. Considering he's apparently just walking across... Also, another big question, how does he just walk into a Lostbelt? Because we know how Canis gets in. She has an authority over the sea and storms, so she can walk through the storm wall. And it appears that Konenskaya Tomovich can just teleport. She just, like, slides or whatever.
But, yeah. Mysterious person, hopefully we'll see more.
Yeah. I believe that's going to be a reoccurring line. But yes, they show up again, and it's very interesting what they're doing with their stuff. But yeah, so there's a lot of lore. I think, though, speaking of Canis and Tomovich, that leads me to the first bullet point I actually wrote in my list. In all caps, lies, the ass is fat.
It is.
That's because, well, this is a very, very interesting scene, by the way, because Canis and Tamamo, and Konenskaya Tomovich have a conversation while Surtur's freaking out, because the big second act twist is that, hey, shocking nobody, Sigurd was Surtur all along, kind of, and he was doing okay until, Bryn stabbed him with her spear and broke his spirit origin, which let him come out. Let him escape-o. And then he kidnaps Ophelia and fucks off.
Mm-hmm. Because of love.
Yeah. You said this last week, Lucky, but I think you're definitely right. Though that could just be confirmation bias because you said it. There's definitely an underlying theme of people loving and how they love, and sometimes love is not goo.
I mean, I
can
literally map it all out.
Yeah, no, but also sometimes it's Sigurd and Bryn, and they're adorable.
It's like, you literally have the Valkyrie's love for Bryn, Bryn loves for Sigurd, Sigurd's love for Bryn, Skahawk's love for her people, hecking Ophelia's love for Wodaime, Surtur's love for Ophelia. It's
Napoleon's love for Ophelia as a contrast. It's a whole thing. It also, I think it hits all the big 4 types of love kind of thing. So yeah, it's there's a lot of interconnected themes in there, but while Surtur is walking up back to his homies, walking back to his posse, Canis and Tomovich have a conversation, which I think once again reveals that while Canis is constantly mad at the world, I think it's because, in case you guys forgot, she is literally living a rape revenge movie all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, so there's that. But they actually have an interesting conversation. And then they fuck off to their respective places. Like, Tomovich is like, I gotta go to the next Lostbelt. You should go back home. It's perfectly fine. And she's like, you're right. I will go back home. But she, tells Konenskaya she's got a fat ass. And Konenskaya is like, excuse me, I'm very slim. And I'm like, no, you're drawn by one Arco. It is definitely fat. I wrote it with a PH. Also, assuming that Konenskaya is the assassin Tamamo who appears in the trailers, which she probably is, you're literally wrong.
Literally, it was an ass shot.
Assassin. But yeah, I think that's a really interesting thing. But then that's why they fuck off from the story for the climax. But yeah, there is some interesting things going on. Also, speaking of Sigurd, though, Sigurd, actually cool.
Real
Surtur,
cool, actually.
not so cool. Literally and figuratively. Though I will say, yeah, obviously, I felt a little sympathetic for him at the end. We talked about love, and the whole point of the story is that Surtur only destroys. He literally has no way to understand how to express his feelings for Ophelia.
Mm-hmm.
Because she happened to be, like, the one person who looked at him and was like, hey, cool, you're a dude. I'm a dude, too. Hey, we're both dying. Neat, bye.
I think, what did he said? It's all like, if next time we meet, I'll show you my flames or something.
Show you my flaming sword. There's a lot of flaming sword jokes. I'm pretty sure it's also a metaphor for his penis, but...
Yeah. I mean, Grand Saber Surtur win.
But I think there are a lot of jokes because a lot of people play this in JP where only you can hear his voice lines, which are about 90% Ophelia. But he actually has character depth and story and stuff he's doing. He's not just an asshole, but also he's an asshole. Also funny, you talk about Grand Saber. I put this in my notes. So no, probably can't summon Surtur for reasons. They do explain that summoning the King of the Giants is like a weird once-in-a-lifetime kind of coincidence because of Ophelia's eye and the fact that she's from the Evocation Department, aka she's a summoner by nature. But he does have full Manson kit. That is actually true. He has both his own skills and NP, and also they talk about the skills that he stole from Fenrir, which I actually used to write up the fan run for Fenrir because canonically you can summon Rider Fenrir. It happened in the drama CD. No, I'm still not over that. You're going to be hearing about that one for probably a whole nother year. But yes, it's very interesting to see what they do. That said, Ophelia Sinmara pseudo win. For those of you who don't know, Sinmara is a female Jotun who is the keeper of the magic sword Levantine, who might be Surtur's wife, daughter, sword holder lady? She's only mentioned a couple of times, and it might just be another epithet for Hela, but still. It's cool. And also Ophelia is very dead, so she definitely counts to be summoned.
Oof.
Yeah, that is another big question. Remember, you have to die to be summoned. Oh boy. This is our first cryptor death, because Kadok is still alive. She dies after overloading and blowing up her own mystic eye. Oof. Which is a big deal, and then using her Sirius light. Which we still don't know what it does, and it's very important. I knew from summaries that she used it. Fun fact, it turns out those summaries told me just as much as the story did. Because all it does is she deactivates the magic circuits in her eye, which, by the way, Ophelia's eye, super cool, because it's a multi-purpose eye. It lets her see possible futures, see the future, kind of, and other stuff like that. But also, she can pin futures in place. So she can temporarily lock you into a possibility. She uses this to diffuse Ortonax by making its mysteries fire in the wrong order. She basically picks a future where it misfired, so it starts breaking down. And lots of other things. She pins lots of other stuff. Now, interestingly, it does have counters, because if there aren't multiple futures, she can't pin you to a bad one.
Oh yeah, Bryn does this.
Yeah, Bryn, through sheer willpower, makes it so that the only possible outcome is that she does the thing.
Yes.
Surtur does this also later, when he's transforming and leaving Sigurd's body. She tries to lock him down, but he's like, haha, the Valkyrie lady showed me how to do it. But then she uses it on Final Surtur with her Sirius light, which it sounds like she's just basically trying to do the reverse of what she normally does, which is, the way she phrases it is, you will not shine before me. And she's like, when she spends her command spell, she's shouting at us to shine. So it sounds like she's just doing normal command spell stuff, but on like a high level, but I still don't know. We do find out later, Coxcatty does tell us that Ophelia told her that if you use the Sirius command spell, you die. It costs your life to use, but it has miraculous effects. We do know that what Kadok was trying to do with it was to basically rebuild his Lostbelt and make a new reality Anastasia could be the Tsarina in, but it didn't work.
Well, like, honestly, the way I see it is probably the Serious Light. Command spells usually only affect, servants. Serious Light probably actually affects reality.
Yes, which is probably why it costs you your life to do.
Yeah.
And there's some interesting things about command spells. I don't think have we done a teach me on them? It might be a little short. I'll think about it. We already have like 4 topics that are being voted on. We'll talk about that later. But the general rule of command spells is they're just a big infusion of magical energy with like a control spellcraft on them. So if you use them for a specific command, they are a very strong compulsion. If you tell Saber, don't stab that man, Saber has to not stab that man. But also magic resistance counts because it is a magecraft. So certain servants can resist these effects. But the more specific your order is, the more powerful it is. The more general it is, the less powerful the command is, but it still infuses them with magical energy. If you're like, don't die, it dumps a bunch of energy in their body so their wounds close up and they heal temporarily, but not fully. If you tell them to activate their Noble Phantasm, it dumps a shitload of energy so that they can use their Noble Phantasms, etc. This is presumably how we use our command spells, just be like, servant, do the thing, servant, don't die. And the other thing that is commonly used is that to summon them, Shiro does this a shitload in FSN. He wastes a lot of command spells making Saber appear throughout various timelines. Saber! But that is another thing you can do that we never do it for because we Cortana, already have that feature. Saber.
Sorry.
Cortana thinks she's Saber. Well, actually, Cortana is a sword. So she's not wrong. Hey, Saber Tristan win. Because in case you didn't know, Cortana is his sword originally. Even though it only shows up in the Matter of France. It's weird. But yeah, so her eye's super cool, and we don't really know. We didn't really learn what Serious Light does. We just know that it's really strong and it's really painful to use. We will, I'm sure, see more of it later, because that was the whole reason why Kadak is being kept alive, other than that, also, I assume Wodaime probably doesn't want to kill him, just because he went through all that trouble to keep him alive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's cool. I'm also, by the way, I'm not necessarily kidding about, like, Ophelia Pseudo. She's actually really cool and, like, really powerful. And she is dead, so it counts.
Actually, well, here's the weird thing. Can new servants be recorded right now?
They can be recorded by us, at least.
That is true. Actually, they have been mentioning this, that the Master's bonds have done some weird shit. It's like how you were able to actually forge a connection with Seatonai. And I think Suter said his karmic bonds with Ophelia is what led them to this?
Yes, because they were connected through her eye, because she still had her eye, it basically served as a catalyst when he got summoned, so he was able to do the classic FGO Shimsham and hijack Sigurd's Saint Graph.
Yeah. So, yeah, honestly, yeah, you are correct. Yeah, because we are a fucking nexus of, connection. Like, honestly, like, the fact that they actually use Karmic Bond specifically makes me really wonder what's up with the Master sometimes.
Yeah, it's weird. So, yeah, I think you saw this last weekend, but yeah, Seatonai was mostly useless. She does give you one of the buffs in the big boss fight with Surtur, which is cool, but still.
So, actually, I'm actually, like looking at this, I finally understood some. Lostbelt 2 is weird that it doesn't have a banner 2.
Correct. They did a pre-release banner, they did the central banner, and then Scotty got pushed to Anniversary.
I think there might have been some fucking servant delays, because if you think about it, like fucking Seatonai and Scotty, that'd have been a banner 2 right then. Yeah,
that sounds like they're both SSRs, but that would have been the rotation. That would have been, here's our new story lock, and here's our new limited, the Lostbelt King, and here's the story lock unit.
Yeah,
but
usually
BT Dubs, kids, Seatonai's not coming out until Oniland this Halloween.
Yeah, because usually the Lostbelt King is in Banner 2.
Mm-hmm. And I think what probably did happen was that it's probably that there was like, okay, so Seatonai, we don't need her assets for this. She's not going to be playable right away. What do we do? Well, we've already planned, and Napoleon's going to be permanent. We've already planned that he's going to be released to hype this up, and maybe they were already planning to do the Sigurd Bryn Wombo combo with Valkyrie, who are permanent. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, okay, what do we do for a part 2? Oh, well, we're just going to back into the anniversary. Why don't we just put, we don't have any specific plans. Why don't we just put Scotty in there and not do a part 2 banner?
Yeah.
Keeping in mind that part 2 banners aren't always new characters, because there are 2 releases of Lostbelt 5, there are like 4 Lostbelt 5 banners, some of which aren't actually with any new people, I don't think, because Odysseus gets delayed until White Day. But yeah, this is a thing that happens, I think, with Lostbelts now, is just there's so many characters all at once that aren't ready that you're going to see offset releases. Like, while Odysseus is permanent, he doesn't get released until way later. Same with, Dioscuri, I believe, are for the actual first part of the Lostbelt, but you know what I mean. Also, since people talked about this, expect this with Lostbelt 3 later this year. A lot of people are hyped for new assassin Old Man Lee. Remember, he doesn't come out until New Year's. He's actually on the part 2 banner of Sparrow Inn. But now he is story locked, so after that banner, he will be in the story gacha permanently if you've beaten Lostbelt 3, but still, he doesn't actually exist in the game state until that happens. It's very interesting. But yeah. Also, yes, we talk about, technically, we'll do that in a second, too. We're still talking about Lostbelt 2. Also, that was a fun thing about Season I is, yes, she does, because she is Ilya's body, and she's FSN Ilya, in case you didn't pick up on that, she is able to shadow summon her own Herc to do stuff, and he apparently tanks Surtur, even though he's a shadow servant. He's still the strongest in the world. That would be, by the way, another really great moment to do an animation, so we could see Shadow Herc go apeshit. But yes, it's really interesting, by the way. This is Lostbelt 2, but we immediately do the Babylonia tier thing of, like, the cavalcade of buffs for the final boss fight.
Actually, this was all throughout the Lostbelt.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff. Napoleon gave you some stuff. And also,
Bryn gave you some stuff.
Yes, you had to pick one of the 2 for the big Sigurd fights, and depending on who you picked, I also believe for Valkyries too, but depending on who you picked, you got different buffs. Napoleon would do damage down on the enemy from his bombardment, and Bryn would do, crit down from her runes.
Actually, it was interesting, because I actually didn't want to use Napoleon, I swapped him out to the back, and he would start doing his attack from the back line.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah, there's a lot of fun little features. There's a lot of story and gameplay integration, right?
Again, I really wish this is what Bon 10 would do. Is just, when you have them, they just do a buff of some sort.
Yeah, most of them are unfortunately on the field. If they took that out, that would be a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
You could do a lot more backrow shenanigans. Though some of them still wouldn't necessarily proc, because, like, Arash is, like, procs when he dies, but still. Blech. It's still good, though. It's a 5k heal and a debuff cleanse. It's actually really interesting for challenge quest stuff. It's just very expensive. But yeah, so there's a lot of gameplay and story integration that's really cool. A lot of really interesting stuff that happens. Napoleon is a huge bro the whole way.
Mm-hmm. Much ooh la la.
And that's the final thing, and they do the fucking front-facing story sprite when he does his NP in-game, and he gives Surtur a big old face rainbow. He busts out his quote-unquote trump card, which is just to use his NP really hard. Because I don't know about you, but I actually was using Story Napoleon a lot, and did get to fire his NP several times. It's just that.
Yeah.
But smaller, I guess. They do also reference that Napoleon does have Imperial Privilege. He doesn't use it in FGO, but he does have it, and he uses it to psychically contact Ophelia and be like, yo, girl, you are in an abusive relationship. You need to get the fuck out of here.
I am he who grants wishes.
Yes, because Ophelia did actually have one wish, which was she wanted to see a rainbow, basically, or something. And he was like, yo, girl, I've granted your wish. And she's just like, okay. You're cool, I guess. And then you can, after he's gone, you can bring back Ulala.
I did.
Of course you did. Because who wouldn't? Why wouldn't you bring back Ooh La La? You know, I'm just thinking of the Futurama quote. What a man! I'd follow him to hell and back. I would. He gave me all the medals. Never promoted me above private, though. Yeah. Her wish was to be saved, actually, because that's something she never could do. But yeah, it's really interesting. But also, Ophelia uses her eye and her command spell to power you up, which is, other than the super giga ultra buffs you get from Napoleon's Ghost and Scotty and Citonai and maybe Ortolinde, because I don't think she actually fights in that last one, is just you, Bryn, and Sigurd fly up to Surtur's face and boop his snoot. Don't ask us how we float up to the tree. Don't know about that.
I don't remember.
I don't think they bring it up. You literally go from the boss fight with Scotty to slaying the tree, and then after that, you actually get the story segment where you do the conclusion. It's a little weirdly paced. But
also,
yeah,
shout out to how fucking lovey-dovey Sigurd and Bryn are.
Oh yeah, they're adorable together. You can see why they have so much shipping power.
Yeah. I was just like, after like Sigurd, he's all like talking, he was like, wake up my love, and she's like, no, and he's like, do it, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is everything I wanted.
And at the end, he's like, I'll see you again, babe. You could stab me with your spear anytime. I'll be fine. Which he actually will. He's got guts. I do also appreciate that, again, they both use their NPs in a big way to smash Surtur, including, a kind of a little bit of revenge because Sigurd's sword is also of the sun, but it was made by Odin, so it's pretty cool. He gets to punch it pretty hard. The little thing where, to keep Surtur from just jobbing you out because he's an asshole like that, where Bryn hits him with some sensory magecraft so he doesn't realize that he doesn't actually get you. That segment's still actually also really cool.
Well, yeah, it's a callback to Napoleon hugging snow, which is great.
But also a callback to the start when it was Sigurd Surtur trying to kill you, where you have the same choices. I picked, by the way, use a command spell both times.
I will not go quietly into that cold night.
I'm just imagining it would just be like, no, command spell. Mash, do the thing. Still don't know, by the way, what the amalgam goat is supposed to be. I don't know if Ortonak's Mash has mats anywhere, but she references it constantly, so it must be important. The bunker bolt, at least I understand. That's the fact that she actually has a pile bunker in her shield to stab people. And I believe the bunker bolt skill turns into her gun in Lostbelt 5.
I'm excited to see what that's all about.
That'll be interesting. I think that's going to have a lot to do with a character we meet at the very end, but I think, let's see, did we cover everything in the actual Lostbelt? Talked about Sigurd and Surtur, really interesting characters. Talked about Ophelia. Conan Sky and Canis got in there. Talked about Scotty's character development. I guess overall, how do you, because we had a long talk about Kadok, how do you feel about Ophelia as a character?
I like her a lot more than I do Kadok. A lot of people were saying that Kadok was kind of a foil to you, to the master, but Ophelia is kind of a foil to Mash. I don't necessarily get that feeling.
Foil might be not the right word.
Yeah.
Ophelia's character arc is much more about her relationship with Mash. Ophelia literally can't remember your fucking name.
Nope.
Like, when she sees you, she's like, I'm Omega, by the way. She's like, yes, I didn't forget. I'm just dying or something inside. It's fine. I'm just like, okay.
Well, I said I love her. I love Ophelia at the end where she's talking about how she's your senpai in this, and so she needs to look good. I can't remember what it was exactly. God damn it.
She's got to look cool. It's there, but yeah. But when she's having the I'm dying scene, she only speaks with Mash, and she's just like, "Hey Mash, you're really cool now. Like, remember how we didn't talk to anybody, and how we had girls' table time with Pepe? God, Pepe's so great.
I love Pepe already. Trust me.
He only showed up a little bit in there. It's just like, nah, it's great.
Again, but as I said, like, I'm not, like, honestly, I'm not too upset about, like, me being put to the sideline in that case, because like, again, like, me as a master was literally this last-minute replacement who did end up, like, completely turning everything on its fucking head, but at the same time, I wasn't part of their relationship dynamic, like, at all.
No, and honestly, that's what's very much why Cadillac is a foil to you, is because he's basically the you of Team A. Like, he's just some nobody asshole who is minding in his own business, and he's just like, wait a second, you're just like me. If you did all that stuff, I could definitely do all that stuff. How dare you do all that stuff? That was my chance to do that stuff. Fuck you. That's his character arc, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where he's trying to work up the ability to actually own up to not only... Well, he needs to beat you first, because that's the stepping stone to proving himself that he could win the contest and beat Wodaime, who he's really got his inferiority complex about.
Ophelia is more a girl who makes wishes but doesn't have them granted. She wants to be Master's Fred. She wants to have Wodaime notice her. She wants, she's a girl who wants but doesn't actually vocalize her wishes.
Yeah, I think again that's kind of Ophelia is definitely much more the stereotypical mage character, who don't often show up a lot in Fate, but I'd almost say she's kind of like, her personality isn't, but her kind of character tropes are a little bit similar to Rin in that way, where Rin has a lot of baggage about, well, I'm a mage and I've inherited all my family stuff, so I guess I need to do the family quest and fight the Holy Grail War and do the thing.
That's it keeps going referencing to why she hates Sunday so much,
Yeah, because, and I think that's actually a little bit more clear in the Japanese, or at least the way it was explained to me, that Sunday is the day of rest. Sunday's the day that nobody has any expectations of her. Nobody wants anything from her. So because Ophelia has only ever existed in her life to do stuff for other people, right? Whether it's for her family or for Wodaime or whatever, she has no idea what the fuck to do with herself on Sunday. That's why she hates Sundays.
Yes.
Nobody asks her to do anything, so she has nothing to do, basically.
You can definitely get a feeling that she is someone who lives to fulfill someone else's expectations. Just look at how she, treats Wodaime. Constantly, what does Wodaime want me to do?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and everybody loves Napoleon. He's great. A real MVP of this scenario. I'm so glad they introduce him early and they run with him. Though, they do a lot of work in the little time you have with Sigurd, which I appreciate too. I also appreciate that another thing that he talks about how he'd live through her spear. I think canonically he would also, because he already got stabbed. while Scotty does put him back together again kind of at the end, he's basically running on being stabbed with the thing that kills him the whole last 7 chapters of the story.
Oh yeah, I think they said, honestly, I think they mentioned it was something like the relationship with each other or something that was holding them together or something.
Yeah, physically, Scotty patched them back up together with runes, and then just ran on it. Honestly, no, though, Sigurd's not really that BS as a saber. It's just that he doesn't have any really intense skills. He's just got a lot of general stuff. He has access to certain amounts of runes, which is cool. He has access to his wisdom, but so do a lot of sabers have protection-y, wisdom-y type stuff. And then he's artificially, he has the dragon factor. He has the dragon core reactor, Artoria does. So he has a shitload of mana. But he's not really that crazy, all things considered. He only has 2 NPs. Unlike Lancelot, who canonically has 4 and has 4 A-rank skills, and it's crazy. Lancelot's definitely OP, but he was written that way. He's the original OP, original character, Do Not Steal. And then
French fan fiction.
Yes, a French poet added him afterward. And then later, when we started getting to Vulgate Cycle and Lamort to Arthur and stuff, it was oh shit, we've realized all this adultery stuff, that's not actually cool. So, that kind of makes Lancelot more like the character we know of him. Sir Lance is a lot of married women. Lancelot's really strong and powerful, but he's also kind of a loser. Stuff just happens to him to have dumb stuff happen. That's just kind of the way they treat it. And then we introduce Galahad, who's but he's even more pure and cool than his dad is. Yeah, he's the bestestest. He finds the Holy Grail and angels literally whisk him up into heaven. That's how cool he is. But yeah, we're not here to talk about Lancelot. But Sigurd is a lot of fun, but Napoleon, I think, real MVP. Though, again, talk about characters getting their time in the sun. This story arc does a lot for Brynn, because honestly, I didn't really like Brynn's trial quest. It was very mind-rapey. Really not cool. And even when she shows up in one of Altera's interludes, she's still kind of creepy and weird. Like,
I mean, she's creepy and weird and counterfeit spirits too, even if it's not actual Brynn.
yeah, well, it is creepy and weird, but at least that's part of the joke, right? Like, she fits into the ethos and the tone. Maybe it's because, well, I don't have a Brynn, so I don't know about her own interludes. But maybe it's because Sigurd is here that she gets to focus that differently. But even to Sigurd, she's not that creepy. She's just like, no, Sigurd, don't get too close. I'm gonna stab. Oh, you're close. I'm stabbing you.
I think they also fluffed that as Scotty was doing something to prevent the murder energy.
Yeah.
But even if not there, Sigurd was like, nah, give it to me. I love you.
I can take it. I'm cool. Do you know how cool I am? I'm the
Check
coolest.
these glasses.
I'm Seto Kaiba. But yeah. He can tank it pretty good. Oh, also, this is another point. Did I mention this last week? But about No, I don't think I did. I think I mentioned another thing. In like 2 lines, they explain Brynn's NP and her damage trait way better than anybody ever has.
Oh yeah,
ever.
no, you did say that. Well, I don't know if you said on air, but
I did mention it before. But yeah, no, that was a great moment where they're just like, okay, so the closer they are to being a true hero, a person who I think of as like Sigurd, the heavier my spear gets, and the bigger it is. So on the one hand, while it does work for like blah blah blah, her it's her girl boner, but in actual mechanical terms, what the Brynn's beloved trait is that these are people that she basically thinks are worthy heroes to go into Valhalla. Like they are not just peerless warriors, but they are also noble and good. Mm-hmm. Hence why, for instance, Ogita Alter, who has a counter guardian, is way more positive. Has it, but vanilla Okita does not. And I believe Ushi has it because, honestly, if you think about it, Ushi's kind of that way. Ushi is just fighty. Like, that's the only thing she does is fight and kill stuff. And selflessly, too. Like maybe Ushi likes to murder, but mostly she's doing it because she wants to be cool. Master will appreciate it if I kill like 50 Oni and bring you their heads, and they're like, no, not the heads, just the hearts. It's cool. It's fine.
Head pats. Honestly, that reminds me, that's another scene in fucking Chaldea's Slow Love with Fue. Is just Ushi just wants a goddamn head pat.
Well, that's canonical.
That is super canonical.
So I think the only other big lore thing, besides talking about the characters, is talk about tree facts. We get also a lot better look at trees, because the tree, even though we don't see it, it's concealed by Magecraft for most of the story until Surtur eats it.
Nom.
But it actually exists in the world and has taken root, which is the thing that the Lostbelt 1 tree did not. It didn't start growing until we took care of Ivan. So we learn a couple of things. One, the trees have seeds, which are the weird things, the weird caster class enemies who try and laser your face off. But also, they are explicitly described as more like fauna than flora.
Yes.
So yeah, there's some weird alien terraforming shit going on here, which I think is... So, the Lostbelts themselves, not that harmful. The trees, I think the point is that the trees are bad news. Because they are literally spitting out alien seeds, which are like attack drones.
Like, again, what the Lostbelts are trying to do is trying to make a world hospitable for this foreign god to live in. Again, I don't understand why anyone thinks this is a good idea. But,
honestly, I think Wojima is just doing it because that's the hand he was dealt to, yo, dog, you're gonna, explode and die in this timeline unless you accept my offer. And he's like, can I take 6 friends? Can I get six more backstage passes? And the alien god was like, sure, fine, jeez.
Actually, now I think about it, maybe it was a delaying tactic.
Could have been trying to stall us. The second wave is very much once Surtur eats the tree, he has authority over the tree. So he effectively becomes the Lostbelt king as far as the mechanics work, and is literally telling the tree to, like, attack us. I'm pretty sure that's why they, like, invade Scotty's palace. And by the way, make her, like, 200% mad. Like, I think that's the first time she gets serious and violent is when a couple of seeds crash through her roof, and she's just like, I'm sorry, you've done what? What are you doing in my house? And then she freezes them solid and they explode.
Mama does not approve.
But yeah, the other interesting thing is that, at least according to Surtur, the tree has not like an intelligence, but it has a will.
Yes.
The way he describes it, it's not a conscious thought, but when he came into contact with the tree, he understood that it has a desire to live and grow as well. Which is why it lets him eat it, because it wants to grow. So it's like, yeah, cool.
It's like some reptile lizard brain stuff.
Yeah. What that means, honestly, we'll probably find out more as we run into more trees. Though I will say, this is weird. Scotty tells us the name of this one. It's Sombrero, which, by the way, is a galaxy. There is a Sombrero galaxy. But the way in story she tells it is it's like it's a poignant thing, but I still don't get it. And I know about space and stuff. Also, it's a Spanish hat, yes. It's called the Sombrero Galaxy because it looks like a sombrero.
I wonder if there's anything interesting about this. Let's see here.
Sombrero Galaxy. Let me see some cool pictures. Ooh.
Oh, wow. It actually does look pretty good. Pretty
Those
awesome.
are some nice shots, yeah. Very
Check out this
picturesque.
book. It is. Check this out.
Yeah, that is a good one. No, it does actually look kind of sombrero-like. But let's see. Let's see what NASA has to say about Messier 104, the Sombrero Galaxy. Da-da-da. Largest mosaics ever assembled from Hubble observations. Center of it's thought to be a massive black hole, like a lot of galaxies. Got a lot of star systems. It's between Corvus and Virgo. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing anything like any weird facts other than it's a really famous galaxy we know of. Oop, can't retweet that. I cannot retweet that, but I can post it to somewhere. But yeah, that's a lot of very interesting stuff going on there with that. I think as we go on, we'll find out more. Tree was kind of an interesting battle. I gotta say, I like this tree better than the last tree, if only because this tree didn't pierce and invul me all the time. The NP gain down was kind of annoying, but you can get around that. The fact that the first tree was like pierce invul on NP and would regularly give itself pierce invul was just a pain in the ass to fight. Because guys, I'm not as harsh on Ortonax Mash as some people, but I will say, God, I miss her first skill. Oh man, do I miss free AoE damage cut. Ooh, it hurts. It physically hurts. There are so many times when I'd love to just be like, and I'd just like to take less damage. I had to bust out seals on the Scotty Ortolinde fight, but that's because I ended up fucking up my bars and ate some NPs that I didn't need to eat. That said, that wasn't hard, that was just me missing the timing with break bars. And the second Surtur fight was honestly not that super hard. Like, he's got some annoying stuff, but as a lot of people have pointed out, on the one hand, I do think I might owe Urali some grails, because unfortunately, at just max level 70, she's a little squishy. Part of that, though, is because Surtur is hard designed to shut down that strategy. He does bonus damage to Divine Servants, so he will beat up Urali and Orion very fast, despite the fact that he is still a male saber. He is also immune to charm, so all
you have to do is just hurt him before he hurts you. That was my strategy.
My key strat though was you know what his one weakness is? Bridges. which I actually have that. I think I deleted it, but I posted it in spoiler chat, was, Surtur, you are already a bridge. Because Fujino shuts that man down hard because her NP has buff block on it, which stops a lot of his shenanigans. And also she has her third skill with it reduces her max HP but gives her huge damage cut and guts. Very tanky. She will take a lot of slaps. The other primary strat I used for Surtur was I had to bust out Jean again, just because I needed that sweet AoE debuff cleanse and invul. Because, God, those burn stacks. If you let him get away with that, that's kind of shenanigansy. And unfortunately, I think your backup team only debuff clears you once. They will do it, but only once. But I didn't have too much trouble with the bosses. Apparently Lostbelt 3 is where they're really going to start getting shenanigansy, so we'll see how that works. So I think, let's see, Scotty, so I think the only thing I've got left in my notes about the bullet points is to talk about the epilogue, basically. We've already kind of talked about Gerda's kind of farewell. And how
honestly, it hurt. It honestly made me hurt, especially when she's like hopped and didn't land. I'm just like, no!
Yeah, I don't know who... I'm pretty sure it wasn't Urobuchi because he wrote Lostbelt 3, we're pretty sure. But whoever wrote that knew what they were doing. That was written to be a motherfucker. But at the same time, it's that, like, I had a lot of really mixed feelings. It's like a very, very happy sad because it's like, oh, well, at least she, like, she was still being true to herself to the end. Like, she was still exploring, which is kind of an interesting thing because that's a big point that's brought up with the Valkyries earlier, is there are no more heroes in this Lostbelt. Nope. Those people don't exist anymore. That's why they insist that Sigurd has to be from proper human history because there's no way he could exist in this timeline. Right. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that kind of human curiosity returning and then just whoosh. But there's a lot of really interesting stuff at the end, like when we suddenly end up in the ocean, which I have written in my notes as, with my last breath, I curse Da Vinci. It's another Futurama quote. I love Futurama. It's really good, guys. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. Because you're driving along and then you end up in the ocean accidentally, and Da Vinci's like, hey, I know we call it sailing when we go into the imaginary sea, and that's called a sea. We can't actually swim, though. So shit, dude, we're gonna die. And that's just my immediate thought was just like, thanks, Da Vinci. Okay. And that has a lot of fun moments. There's a lot of back and forth with, Goldorf does some of his poignant stuff here. There's some Da Vinci talk. Sherlock explains some stuff and then goes back to sleep it off. Sherlock, by the way, when he kind of wakes up, has some very interesting commentary. Like, he has some very interesting back and forth between him and Takak Scotty. She says some interesting things that, like, his insight might actually be better than Odin's, but then she's like, no, wait, your insight is just all of human accomplishment on your side, which is kind of true, because that's kind of Holmes' thing, is that he's the guy we think of when we think of the guy who figures stuff out, is we think of, Sherlock Holmes. But then, I like how, after all the shenanigans, he's like, okay, I'm still gonna go take a nap, bye. And I'm just like, nah, it's cool, dude, you got stabbed pretty hard.
Yeah, no, the stabbing.
You got stabbed and then you got cursed. Curse stab. But then, interestingly, we end up in the Wandering Sea. They explain a lot how that works. They're a fairy island. They're literally a traveling island you can't get to.
Yes.
And they move around in an ocean. It's like a rolling reality marble. And we get invited by someone who calls herself a Spiritron hacker, a very interesting term, especially because Extra hasn't happened.
Yeah.
She says, by the way, that she designed our paper moon. And then she reveals at the end that her name is Shion some stuff. We don't actually see her yet, but she's a Melty Blood character. I'm pretty sure in Melty Blood she's also a vampire because Tsukihime. I think she's not a vampire in Fate because not Tsukihime. It's a thing I've mentioned before. Nasu's got a real big never the twain shall meet kind of thing. between Tsukihime and Fate continuity. But she is from Atlas, and she's an inventor and magic hacker who apparently designed our paper moon and like invites us inside to be like, yo, dog. So hopefully we're gonna get some upgrades. Yes, Holmes did fuck us a little not sharing his complete theory.
Honestly, to be fair, every time he tried to explain it, something happened.
Yes, he had a couple of points where he tried to like warn us about his thoughts, but he passed out because he got stabbed really hard. And even then, it's like, yeah, I don't 100% blame him. Like, and he even said, "Oh, speaking of fireworks, I think I hear some fireworks popping up just now outside." But even then, he's like, "Yeah, sorry, I should have tried harder to like write it down, but I was busy dying." And I'm like, "No, I get you, man, but at the same time, I understand. I didn't get it either. Like, not, especially because of how, and also blame on Ophelia too. Like, to us, she probably could have shouted out like, 'Yo, dog, he's got a surtur inside him. You shouldn't stab him.' We'd have been like, 'Ah, shit, we can't stab him. Bryn, boop him on the head and wrap him up in rope.' But we could have done that. We could have hog-tied him and like stuck him in the back of the shadow border or something. Let me be on the shadow border. He's super strong. But like, several people could have armed us with information about that problem who didn't. Holmes is only one of them.
Let's go find the fucking cliff here. That'd have been fucking poignant.
Yeah. And she wasn't fully shim-shammed until after Surtur actually got out, because Surtur was also Fafnir. Weird how that works.
Yeah.
I do also like though that Sigurd calls him out, right? He's like, buddy, I think you're real evil dragon-y right now. And throws his fucking sword at him.
When he got the with the wings or something, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, ooh, buddy, you're looking a lot like a dragon, which I'll have you know is just a larger swallow. And then he sword punches him. Boom. God, Sigurd is
Actually,
so
I
cool.
wonder if Sigurd has lines for fucking Sieg.
Maybe. I'd have to check him out. I haven't, other than his standard issue Bond lines, I haven't poked his lines yet. I should throw him up in my room and poke him a couple times. Because he's a cool guy who does cool stuff. But yeah, so that's the big conclusion, is that that we go to the place, and I believe this is going to be the build-up to us being able to race shift again, aka actually do events, and some other stuff.
When does Lostbelt 3 supposed to hit?
It should be, I think for JP it was late November, so it should be early November for us. It'll be pre-Christmas, between Halloween and Christmas.
Okay.
Like, some people say December, but you gotta remember, we're always still scooched up a little bit. Just because you gotta fill gaps. So somebody did also mention, though, something, about Lostbelt 3, which is, that now that you can see it, it is, localized as, I believe it's still pronounced Sin or Shin, but it's written, with a Q, like King. Or Queen, or something. I don't fucking know. I'm not really good. Again, I don't know who the fuck decided to Romanize these things this way.
I really don't.
It's really confusing, even for English speakers, let alone for non-native English speakers. Like, why did we decide we paired them up that way? I mean, like, Gaelic is already bad enough. By the way, here's actually, I did, because, speaking of OSP, I did technically bring up, there's a really good one on Fionn, or Finn. The important thing to talk about, though, is that technically the way you're supposed to say his last name is he's Finn McCool. Literally. The Finn, or I think there's some extra English you can put on his first name. It can be just Finn, or it can be more like Finn. Just put some Celtic in there. But previously, and I believe in Japanese, it is localized as Sin, and it might change, because they do that shim-sham occasionally, you know, where they, like, change it. But, there's a lot of really interesting implications, because as I said, that's the name of the nation-state from unifying China. Which I'm guessing is probably some sort of thematics.
Probably.
But we'll see when we get there. Again, luckily, we don't have to wait too long. It's still at the end of this year. After that, guys, buckle in, because we're gonna start getting some longer gaps. Like, it won't be until about the time Lostbelt 2 came out that we don't get Lostbelt 4. And then we won't see Lostbelt 5 until Christmas.
So we'll get a lot of events, but it's gonna be weird.
Yeah, story won't be progressing so much for a while. So yeah, that's really interesting stuff they've got going on. And we still don't know, by the way, about future stuff. Like, as we mentioned this earlier with the Interlude campaign, that I think it's actually really important and cool. Like, they do new interludes, they do release and stuff. They give banners to limited servants who haven't had them in a while. But it's also very clearly filler, and it's going on until when? The 8th? So about another week. Still have no idea what they're doing next. A lot of people have thoughts and feelings, but they're still like a month away from anniversary, so we're gonna need something. We've already done the summer rerun. I can't imagine they would do that, like, summer with all its servants is ready to go before anniversary, so I don't know. Will we get like a OQ Labyrinth rerun or some other story-related event rerun? Will we get something new?
Maybe a new Gouda Gouda?
Could do a new Gouda Gouda. Could do another new collab. Or not collab, just another new event, because there's all kinds of those. I'm very interested to see what we do next. But that won't be until next week, yeah. Our next show will be recorded on the 10th. It's the 3rd right now. So, we will find out next week what they do, but yeah, it's very interesting to see how they're sketching stuff out. A lot of people are talking about the dot in the main thing. I won't shut up about it, it doesn't matter. There's a dot in the main menu, people think it's a thing, it could be a thing, it could not be a thing, who the fuck knows? It's FGO. So, I think that's all our deep dive. I think we hit all the big points, the characters, the story, the stuff, the themes.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't talk super long about the mechanics, but honestly, it wasn't that hard. You just needed a couple of really good archers and maybe a good rider or two. I may have taken some screenshots of Lucha pile driving a space tree. There was some sweet tree raves. That's about it. And from what I know of Lostbelt 3, I think it's going to be a really interesting contrast. But hopefully also there's some prologue stuff that kind of explains why we're going there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think part of it's because we need to do some work, because the thing about Lostbelt 5 being Atlantis, which I think they do mention Olympus in this, but it's in the middle of we've seen the map, it's in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. We have it canonically established the Shadow Border can't swim, so maybe part of that is why we need to work on some stuff so the Shadow Border can swim, so they can actually get to that Lostbelt, because that is an interesting thing that happens a lot in this one, is the Shadow Border physically moving. Like, it does a lot of physical motion. And in the first Lostbelt, it mostly stays in the same place until right at the climax, right? Mm-hmm. In this one, we drive around a lot. So, yeah. And stay tuned, obviously, for Anniversary. There's no real need to pre-game that. Just expect a shitload of quartz, a Scotty banner, some raid ups and stuff. The GSSR. I still don't know for sure what I'm going to roll on. Like, I got Sigurd, so that's Sabers. Do I roll on Assassins? Assassino? I don't know. I don't know what I need. I got to think about it. Luckily, it's not a whole shitload of money. But. Ugh, sorry. Big yawn. I'm running out of my Lostbelt 2 energy.
We almost out.
But I think that's the wrap up for the Lostbelt 2 stuff. We've been going for about an hour, for 2.5 hours, sorry. Hour and a half. You're gonna need to put some extra F's and B's on that last one. I think it's time to move into other stuff because we talked about future plans. So it's a new month, new Patreon. Hopefully everybody's doing okay with the new sales tax thing. And hopefully that's all fine. We did make sure to I did mention earlier that they've upgraded our audio limit. That's cool. I'm so glad. Like, literally, I was asking for that. Because they say it was 200 megabytes. It wasn't really 200 megabytes, you know? But speaking of that, we do have a poll up. I did actually do it on time. I remembered. So we've got a new Teach Me Omega Sensei. We have 4 topics, which are to be voted upon by our patrons of a certain tier. That is 5 and up tier. And those 4 questions are, what is Magecraft/Thaumaturgy? What are phantasmal species? What is a homunculus? And now that we're here, what is the Wandering Sea? Because we've talked about the Mages Association, but we didn't deep dive into Atlas and the Wandering Sea yet. And currently Wandering Sea is winning. Then we got about 50% of the vote with about 13 votes total, which I think is a big chunk of our voting block. But if you haven't voted yet, check it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty clear lead. So we'll see how that shakes out. There's a little under 2 weeks left in the poll, though. So, you know, you've got plenty of time to vote, to change your vote, whatever. Okay, I think that's everything I got in the show.
Lucky is fine on his end.
Alrighty then. I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up so I can edit it and post it, and then I don't have to do anything else today. And I can lay in a bed and do bed stuff.
Yay, bed stuff.
What was it? I think that's a Butters line. Is it sleep is God, go worship? Classic lines. So let's go ahead and wrap up. So, be sure, obviously, to tune in next week for more Let's Talk FGO. Do keep your eyes peeled. Like I said, I've assembled the assets for Wanted Scotty. I'll probably be recording that over the weekend. Check it out. Also, be sure to tune in this weekend for What's Up. It'll be about stuff and things. And stay tuned for other videos, streams, and whatnot we do. You know, big on the whatnot.
Whatnot.
Oh, actually,
What?
You should mention.
What?
Well, I'll mention it because I'm bringing it up. But if you want to say anything else, you can. You have started scripting. Something.
Yeah. Scripting's hard, y'all.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, that's why. If you've ever heard Omega pause a lot, like doing a one-did, that's because they're like 50% unscripted. Most of the fluff stuff is not. But also I do have an interesting superpower to read something and then 5 minutes later remember it.
Yeah, I don't.
Reading and information retention, or rather information retention because I read it, is something I'm good at. Other stuff, not so much. But if I read something, I'm usually pretty good at remembering it. But yeah, scripting is hard. But Lucky's working on his script for the thing.
Thing in the place. What the stuff?
It's being worked on. Yay. Okay.
I'm actually the ranking part, which is a lot harder than I thought it'd be.
That falls into the whatnot category, so stay tuned for future whatnots. Also, I do still have an order full of FGO wafer cards coming sometime this decade, probably. I think. So, I will eventually do a video with those. So, yeah, alright, let's wrap up. Doing the wrap up.
Doing the wrap up.
Still can't pop my knuckles. Knuckles, what are you doing?
I don't know
Hey,
if that
Lucky
came up on
did
the mic. Yeah.
It picked up a little bit.
Okay.
So, hey, if you're watching this on YouTube and you like this video, be sure to like it. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section down below. That's not quite the same thing as Mailbag, but you can look future in the week than when Lucky does the Mailbag. So comments. You can also join us on our Discord. That link is, as always, in our video description, the doobly-doo, and on our channel page.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, check out the doobly-doo. It's got a lot of interesting stuff in there, like the time codes and other stuff, links. But also, you can subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to always get our latest videos, like all that stuff we teased. And even if you're already subscribed, make sure to hit that bell for notifications so you always know when we post a new video, or when we stream, or whenever. I know some people have commented on, Wanted's launching in the middle of the night, but hey, sometimes that's when the banners happen. So, consider hitting that bell. And of course, like it says at the front of the show, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to this episode in audio format early for as little as $1 a month, and lots of other goodies at different levels, like polls, listening to the show live, etc. And it really helps us out. It's pushing us towards bigger and better stuff in tech.
Yes.
So thank you so much for supporting us, patrons, and you can get access to stuff too by becoming a patron today. You can also buy merch. Link in the doobly-doo. Okay. I just like the doobly-doo, okay?
He likes the doobly-doo.
Also, physically speaking, I write most of them other than we have a community member, not Z, but you know what I mean, who does the time codes. Other than that, I write all the descriptions, and they're unique every week. So check them out. There's stuff in there. All right. I'm running out of voice juice, so we shall stop now. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Enjoy your crying in the snow. But your tears don't fall because they're frozen. Poignant.